Oscar.
Oh, good evening, everybody. Welcome.
I think everybody.
Somebody's got the news on.
The background. I can hear feedback.
Take your sound off,
guys.
Sonny.
Hold on.
Is that better?
That's better. That's better. Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
I've just muted Andy. Was that?
Yeah, I think it was.
Andy.
I've got the telly on. Can it be done?
Okay. Well, what we'll do. Sorry about that. We'll sort Andy's out in a minute. It's obviously feeding back somewhere through his speakers. We have got a very interesting show, I suppose, tonight, because one, we're going to be really taking a really deep look at what Eddie Howe said. But firstly, I think what we should do is literally just look. I'll do some homework, I suppose. Apologies again for some sound going in the background. It is picking up everything that everybody else is saying, so we're going to have a look at that. So again, welcome to everybody from all of the across the platforms. Thanks to the mods and everybody working in the background. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys, if you enjoy the show. It just helps us get further to the channel, and it gets us to other NUFC supporters. So subscribe. It's totally free. Hit the bell for any future content. If you want to support the channel grow, become a member. It's a very small monthly fee, and it gives you a chance of winning a great prize. Don't forget to check the webpage, NUFC Talk TV, for news and content. It's totally ad-free. We do it for the love of the club, and we don't get any money for doing it, but we will only put stuff up there if it's from a reputable source. Don't forget, if you've got a question for the panel, and we've got a great panel tonight, please put a Q in front of it so we can recognise it, and we'll talk about it as we go along. Apologies about not mentioning all of the viewers' chat. I will try and put as much on the screen that I feel relevant. But if you do want to guarantee that chat to be obviously mentioned, then use the dollar sign and follow the instructions. All new members and gifts of memberships will be highlighted as we go along. So, guys, don't want to see that again. Oh, it was me. I went to clear the screen.
Is that your Tinder picture?
That's Derek's Tinder face. Yeah, look at that one. So, what I don't think, without causing a massive debate. I mean, we've all been on the background, and I always like to try and nitpick a little bit, because I've been in an industry where I see a lot of change. And I think the word change can upset a lot of people, because you set up one way and you seem to go another. So what I thought I was going to do first was maybe show the interview. It's the one that was done for the NUFC club, because there's so many out there, and every single one, even though he says the same thing, he does change some of his dialect a little bit. So what I thought I'd do was, we'll pick this one. It'll refresh our memory of what he said, and then literally from there we can have a bit of a discussion about what you guys think about what he's saying. So if I'm just going to put it up on screen here, and then we'll get into it, and we'll go from there. So here we go. This is the interview that he did for the training
in Herzog. Before we start talking about the camp, I suppose we have to talk about speculation linking you with the England job. What's your response to that?
Yeah, difficult one, really, being so detached and away from everything here in Germany. So we've been here for a few days. It's been a great camp. But obviously wasn't aware that Gareth had left, and then of course Gareth has left, and then I'm sure back home, well, I've heard back home it's been a lot of talk. I think from my perspective, absolutely love and very proud and honoured to be Newcastle United manager. And as long as I remain happy and free to do my job in the way that I have been and feel supported, then that will continue.
I suppose the supporters and yourself won't want it to become a destabilising thing. So what has been the mood around the camp over the last few days? Oh,
there's been absolutely zero destabilisation of anything. My summer's been one of real work, really. It's been a difficult summer and a challenging summer in many different ways. There's been lots of changes at the club. There's been lots of work gone on behind the scenes to try and improve the squad. The training started about 8-9 days ago, I think, maybe 10 days ago. And it's been 8, 9, 10 days of real focus and work, and the same here. So me and my staff have been working the players hard. We're really focused on the new season. There's been no distraction from that at all.
And in terms of the camp, in terms of the facilities here at Adidas HQ, what have they allowed you to do in terms of pushing those players and getting that work in?
Well, it's been a brilliant camp, I have to say. The facilities here have been exceptional. The players' attitudes to the work have been very good. Just everything from food to location to privacy to quality of facilities, been outstanding.
Hard work, clearly, but what have you done to mix it up and to sort of bring the players out of themselves and get to know each other better?
Yeah, a few things. I'm sure you've seen, well, I know you've been there and watched it, and a few different things. So from a bit of tennis, bit of swimming, just different activities which are all on site to enable us to see the players in a different environment. And there's a few things that we'll do again tonight to just promote team spirit, and then we'll get ready for our first game.
Obviously you've brought in a few new players as well. Lloyd Kelly, somebody who you know very well, and you've bolstered the goalkeeping department as well. Lewis Hall coming in permanently too. How pleased have you been so far with the business that's been done? Yeah,
those players are going to be very important for us. So from Lewis signing for us permanently, outstanding at the back end of last year. I have to say he started pre-season really well as well, so I've been delighted with him. To Lloyd, who, yes, I've worked with. He's got versatility, he's got pace and power and good technical ability, so I think he'll do really well for us. To John Ruddy, and I'll say Oddie, so I don't have to say the name fully. Really boosted and strengthened the goalkeeping department, so I'm really pleased with the 4 acquisitions.
I know it's a cliche as well, but Sandro Tonali is here, he's getting more and more integrated. It's sort of a bit like a new signing in terms of having him getting fully up to speed, isn't it? Yeah, I think Sandro's started pre-season really well. I think we've seen a added development in his game, really, just from the fact that he's close to returning. He's looked really fit, he's looked happy, he's trained very well at a really high level. He's like a new signing for us. Last pre-season, Louis Miley in particular came in and really sort of strengthened his position within the team. There's a few young players come out here as well. Is that the challenge to them, to try and follow in those footsteps? Yeah, of course, and I think we're always open to giving new opportunities for younger players. It's always been part of our philosophy to try and develop those players through the system. Time will tell on that. I think the lads that have trained with us have made a good impression. Hopefully they do well in the games. You mentioned the summer, and there was a lot that went on during the summer. Obviously that sort of final day of the PSR deadline in particular, unfortunately, did mean that you lost a couple of key players as well. And I know Elliot Anderson in particular was a player who you valued massively, and very sad to see him go. Yeah, both players. It was really sad to lose both. Jan Kuba, of course, I never got the opportunity to work with, but we wish him well. He's an outstanding young talent, and I'm sure he'll do really well for Brighton. Elliot was very sad for us because he's a player that we loved, both on and off the pitch. Everyone here at Newcastle has worked so hard to develop him and his talents. And through PSR, really, the club's been forced into a decision through no fault of his own. And it didn't sit comfortably with me, but it was almost something we had to do. We had no choice. So, we wish Elliot well. I'm sure he'll go on to have an unbelievable career. Paul Mitchell has arrived as well as sporting director. I think your paths have sort of crossed without knowing each other too well. How do you see that relationship working and dovetailing together? Yeah, hopefully we have a great working relationship, and we can help each other.
can help each other develop Newcastle to become the club that we all want it to be in the future, meaning competing at the top end and fighting for trophies. I think Paul is a great appointment by the football club. I think he's very strong. He's very good decision maker. He's got an excellent track record on recruitment. I think he's dynamic. He's got strong ideas about how he wants to take the team forward. So I think it's an outstanding appointment, and hopefully, he can feel the love from everybody at Newcastle and go on to have an outstanding career here.
I suppose it's just about everybody working together, pulling in the same direction. So what would be your message to the Newcastle fans now?
My message is hopefully very consistent. A big thank you to everything they did for us last season and the season before, and ever since I've been at the football club, the environment they've created for the players on match day has been incredible. They've supported the players home and away. They've supported the players in good moments and bad moments. They've always made us feel that we're playing in a special environment. They've always made us feel comfortable. My big thing is now that we want to take the team forward and we want to try and return their support with a trophy. That's my big driver. That was my big driver when I came to the football club. That's not changed. I hope this year we can make it happen for them. We give everything in our powers to try and make that happen. So let's wait and see.
So there you have it. That was the chat according to the Newcastle website, Newcastle United website. I'm going to try and bring Andy Bell in because he disappeared and then come back because there was a little. Oh, I hope
Bit of noise pollution.
there's something going on. Andy, are you with us?
I'm with you. I've got 3 iPads here, and only one of them's got any interference. It's
Yeah,
I've got another one on
before.
charge.
Whatever was happening before, the feedback that we were getting from your whatever device you were using was crazy.
So one of the little
anyway,
users, I
yeah,
think
fair
he's
play, mate.
must have done something with it.
He's must do something with the sound. Well, I'm glad
Blame
you're
the
with us
kids,
and
that's
you're-
it.
That's it.
That's it. I'm on to sit on my phone so I can get some charge on the other one that he smashed the screen on. But at least I know that one works. I've bought a new one, but I can't get the StreamYard link on any device yet. I've not downloaded WhatsApp or anything on it yet, so I couldn't send the StreamYard anything to use.
Oh, not a problem.
I'm terrible at IT, guys. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'm glad, like I say, you're eventually with us, matey. So we've just seen the video, and if I'm honest, having listened or watched nearly all the interviews that I could, obviously there wasn't any natural live feed from the journals that were just writing the script down, if you like. But what you actually got from, I think, if I'm honest with you, the one that I've just watched there with you guys was probably the one that was the most positive out of all of them. Everybody more or less questioned whether it was scripted because it seemed as if he was saying the same things, but certain sentences were being changed. There was a little thing that I wanted to start this show with was, which is what they had originally. Now this is with the original four, if you count obviously Darren Earl still in the squad with Amanda Staveley and Medrad Gudusi, which was what Dan Ashworth brought to the club, and that was a vision without a plan is a dream, and a plan without a vision is boring. Now, where I look at Eddie Howe as we speak now, he's got a little bit of credibility. If you look at obviously where he's finished with us over the last couple of seasons, he's 4th and 7th respectively, and he's reached 2 quarterfinals. So that's the argument. Now, obviously, we've got the interest from the FA job, and if you read the Times, if anybody's had a look at the Times, they've done quite a decent centre page of a lot of the candidates for the England job, if you like, and they've literally got Eddie Howe as 3rd favourite for the job. So, depending on what news outlet you go to, he's either up the top of the pecking order or he's a little bit further down.
Gary,
so
can I just ask him we had above him? If you can
You
remember.
can. it was the top dog was Poch, and the second lad, who left Chelsea to go to who left Chelsea to go
Green
to
Potter.
Tuchel.
Munich? No,
Tuchel.
That's him.
Thomas Tuchel.
Tuchel. Yeah, Tuchel was second in the list. Poch was first, and Eddie was out. It was like 19, 17%, and 16%. All have got, really decent, I suppose, qualifications for the role. But it just sounded, well, I suppose to me, being the type of guy, I mean, me and Win always have a bit of a change of opinion with this. I always say, get the best person qualified for the English role. And Win always goes, it's got to be an Englishman. So I think everybody has that opinion. And from my point of view, whoever gets
and the FA have got that opinion as well, by the way.
Well, I like I said, and I'll keep saying, I don't think it really matters who the manager is. I think it's how that manager gets the best out of the players on the park. So it can be an Englishman, and it can be anybody for me. But all I'm saying is now we've had a change from the back four, as in the boardroom four. So we've got rid of Amanda and Medrad. And now we've brought in, obviously, Mitchell and Buns. So is that the problem? Because if you remember the other day, I mean, and I'll hold my hands up here because I put some pictures up on the screen where you saw Eddie and Mitchell having a bit of a laugh in amongst the managers of the Adidas headquarters. There didn't seem as though there was any animosity whatsoever. And yet I was questioning where they was getting these headlines from, a little bit of unrest in the background and things like that. So obviously now these interviews come to light and everybody seems to have a slight variation of an opinion on what Eddie Howe's statement or interview was. Now, is it the fact that Eddie Howe now has lost a little bit of control in the back room? So where before he was the main voice now, and I'll go back to a statement that Eddie Howe made when we lost Dan Ashworth to gardening leave. He was questioned, and I can't remember who the newspaper was now that questioned him. Has it made a difference behind the scenes now Dan Ashworth has gone? And he simply replied, no, there's been no change whatsoever, which means to me that he must have had a lot more of a say in the background at that point. Darren Eales made a little bit of a quote when he had his interview a couple of days ago, and I'll do a little bit of a thing. It was said, we want Eddie Howe to concentrate on the grass or spend a lot more time on the grass. Now, are these guys now that have come in, and this is the questions I want to ask you three, and we'll go individually so not everybody's talking over each other. Is it the fact now that everybody's got this thing where Eddie Howe's unsure of his role now because the lads in the background want to do a specific role, and that's obviously bringing new players. They want obviously a bit more say on the sales and the incomings of players, and obviously to bring in more of the academy boys? Or is it just hot air? Is it just something that we're making up now when we're trying to drive a story? The journals are just trying to push a story. So, Win, I'm going to come to you first, mate. What's your thoughts on the whole event?
My thoughts on the whole event are that Eddie is going nowhere. And he's quite happy. And everything that he said in the interview there confirms that to me. He says, I'm not interested in it. I don't want to talk about the England job. My job's Newcastle United. I just want to get on with that. There's been some changes. We'll adapt to the changes and we'll get on. And I am disappointed, to say the least, that the local journos looking for a story that isn't there are saying, well, yeah, he said the same thing, but it didn't have the same feel. And they're all going on about how they felt about it, because he did that one interview and then he did separate interviews
That's right.
with the journalists. And they're all saying he said the same thing, but we could just sense that something wasn't right. Even though he's saying the same words, they could feel it. It wasn't the same. It wasn't like a normal Eddie press conference. So that's the first thing. The second thing, with regard to the Times article, where they've got Eddie third favourite, that could be for the very good reason that the Times are astute enough and have enough irons in the fire to know that Eddie's not going to take the job. And I think it's significant that the FA did not advertise the job. The advertisement for the job went in the papers yesterday. Now, you're not telling me that from Southgate telling them that he's leaving, for them to put an advert up in the paper took a week.
I think they've got to advertise it by law anyway.
What they've done is they've spoken to whoever they want, and we're all assuming that it's Eddie. So there's nobody telling me that the FA have not been in touch with Eddie last week. And Eddie has turned round and said, look, I'm quite happy at Newcastle United. The maybe went to other potential. Sean Dyche has been mentioned. Lee Carsley, I think, is the favourite.
Well,
to do exactly what Southgate did. Move up from the under-21s to the first team.
Well, what they're saying now, and I'm slightly sidetracking from what we were talking about, but they're saying about Carsley coming in as a stepping stone in case Pep doesn't sign a new contract. And I think one of his interviews before the end of last season was, if he was to go, the next position he'd go into was an international seat. So you're absolutely right. Carsley could be the one that just sits.
But again, the FA went on record when they appointed Southgate, having, bear in mind, before they appointed Allardyce, having tried Capello and Sven, they said, right, no, we've decided now we're going to go down. He's got to be English. Because another thing that came out at the weekend, last weekend, shortly after or Monday, it must have been when Gareth announced his retirement or resignation, was that they had, I think it was on the overlap, and they had Rooney and Neville said that the players in South Africa were a bit pissed off because Capello was watching the Italian game with his pals, and cheering and, really shouting for Italy in the same competition. And they said that didn't go down too well with him. And I think that's one of the reasons why the England manager should be English. Yeah. And I don't care even if we could get Pep. To me, the English manager should be English. Call me old-fashioned, but there's no team ever won the World Cup with a foreign manager.
There's got to be a first time, though, isn't there?
Well, let's have a second time for an English manager.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Listen,
but as far as Eddie's concerned, there's not a word that I've heard him say. You can argue about tones and dialects and all this sort of shit. There's not a word he said to me that suggests there's any unrest in the background. Yes, he says, as long as I feel I'm wanted, as long as I feel I'm loved, I'm here to do the job. I love the job. I've loved it ever since day one. And that's where I stand on the issue. I think people are just, especially the Southern press, because they want him for England manager. So if they can stir up some nonsense up here to unsettle Eddie, they might well get. Don't forget, the England job is a hell of a feather in your cap. It should be the pinnacle of any English manager's career, managing
A lot
the
of the, a lot of the
national side.
journals say otherwise now, don't they? I mean, I know back when obviously I wasn't a real strong English fan. I always looked at that to be any manager's pinnacle or high point of career. But it seems as if since, especially the last 10 years, winning the Champions League seems to be the pinnacle now of managers. And that's why you get the likes of Ancelotti, who has done so many great things with Real Madrid, now being cast in that, in that feather's hat, if you like, being the world's best manager because of what he's done, not at an international level, but what he's done at domestic level. Andy, what's your thoughts, mate?
Not too far off wins. I think what you've got to look at is if the FA are genuinely wanting an English manager to take over, then the number one candidate, rightly so, is Eddie Howe. I'm not reading into that local. I think it was Craig Hope's article with not feeling the same in interviews. Eddie's always been quite, what's the word, vague in his interviews. He gives very little away, and he's very neutral. You very rarely see him irate or extremely happy in his interviews. I think what we have to bear in mind, though, is in football, the things can change like the weather. So as much as he's saying he's committed to the Newcastle job and he's wanting to stay, it only takes something to happen or a better offer to come in from England. And how often, like Wynne said the other night, how often does a manager turn down England? I don't think there's been a case that I remember, other than Southgate, obviously, at that point when he said he wasn't ready when they give the job to Sam Allardyce. I just think we need to watch this space because you never know. I mean, Callum Wilson's just picked up another injury apparently in his back. If Eddie doesn't get backed in getting another striker, maybe he might say, do you know what? I will take the job. I'm just playing devil's advocate there. I'm not genuinely believing that that'll be the case. But I think we just need to watch this space because I think they'll probably not appoint the manager until mid-August.
Oh, Jamie's just legged it. I was going to ask him how we're going. He's coming back. Hey!
Need to put the light on.
Some background light, eh, mate?
It's got a bit dark here. I was starting to look a bit mysterious and creepy and give me a little picture on there. So
yeah,
the lighting's not going to stop. The lighting's not going to stop that happening.
Anyway, how's the bacon? Did you say?
Give us your view, mate, on the whole issue.
Fundamentally, I agree with what Wynne said that I think an English manager works best. But I think gone are the days where you could take your pick from the Premier League or the First Division as was, and all the top managers in there would A, be English or British at least, and B, would jump at the chance. I think if you look at what managers have left Premier League clubs for the England job. You've got Allardyce leaving Sunderland, relegation club. You've got Hodgson leaving West Bromwich, relegation club. McLaren leaving Middlesbrough. And then the last time a manager left what I would say was a decent-sized Premier League club to manage England would have been Glenn Hoddle in 1996 when he left Chelsea.
Yeah.
I don't think what you've got is, in the Premier League, Eddie Howe can say, I want this team. I'm going to build it. Right, okay, I need a player who can sit in, who can make tackles, I need a number 6, as they call it now. And they can go out and get him one of the best in the world. With England, you've got who you get. I mean, if you have a look at that back four at the European Championships, Kyle Walker did past his best. And, the centre-half situation, you've got John Stones plus a bunch of middling Premier League centre-halves that come with him. And then a right back, a left back. And I think it's not something you can do a lot with compared to what you can do in club football. And I think Eddie Howe thrives on being in club football. Having said all that, I am a little bit perturbed by some of the quotes, what's coming out. And in particular, there's a point, like I read The Athletic and I trust the journalists that write in The Athletic.
Yeah, me too.
And there was one question that they reported: will you be manager for the first game of the season? And Eddie gave it: as long as I'm happy in the position, as long as I feel supported by the club and free to work in the way that I want to work, yes, that's a crucial thing. He could have just said yes. I think whatever
Exactly.
people might think about people might be out there thinking if Eddie Howe goes, we can do better. If this isn't put to bed soon, it'll disrupt our pre-season massively. And if he does
Yeah.
leave, it'll throw the entire 24 to 25 season into disarray. Even though I would trust us to go out and get a good managerial appointment, you need that build-up, you need that pre-season. Next
Yeah.
bloke might not be able to work with Bruno, might not be able to get the best out of some of the players that Eddie's brought on, your Shards, your Joe Lintons. And it might be that we have a transitional season and then the likes of Isaac leave if we end up 7th or 8th. I think it's critical that this gets kind of put to bed. And I am a bit concerned. I do agree with what everyone said. I think he's using it as a bit of leverage. But by the
Hmm.
same token, he shouldn't need to be doing that in interviews. They should have had conversations between him, Mitchell, Eales, and they should all be on the same page. And I think Eddie's suggesting in his usual tactful way in those interviews that he's not 100% happy. I
Absolutely.
would, as I say, I'd agree that I think it is an attempt at leverage and hopefully they can sort it out. But I am worried because the consequences of this going wrong are massive.
I mean, like I said,
you know, I just don't. I don't follow all this leverage and ultimatum conversation.
well, you
know,
don't
this
say what
my
it
way.
like,
Everybody's trying to say Eddie's literally turned around saying it's my way or the highway. I just don't read that into it at all.
you see,
I
I do.
think
He's a highly intelligent man. He knows that modern football revolves around a certain way of working, and he'll fit into it. I just
think
don't see
he
this.
wants to know that. I think either number one, if he picks a player that he wants for the first team, that somebody else can't completely shut it down. Fair enough, they can say, look, they're charging too much for our budget or whatever, but they can have a go. And number two, that they can't just drop first team players on him without consulting him, which they definitely don't do now. He gets final say on
He gets
anyone coming into
yeah,
the first team, and the
that's right.
manager should. I think if they're bringing in your Minties, your Garang Kuals, this Serbian lad who's signed today, I think the youth players, Mitchell might say, I'm buying him and he's going in the under-19s, Eddie, deal
Yeah.
with it. You might never have
I
to
think there
use
has
him.
to be some control over the academy players. You're absolutely right, and I don't think Eddie needs to dip his toes that far down
Nah.
the pecking order, mate. And I
Exactly.
totally agree with you. And that's what I'm saying. I think that what I was a bit unsure about until I had to step away and go back in. And I honestly believe, Jamie, what you've just said there is what he said about the boundaries. He's trying to draw a line in the sand, isn't he? He's trying to say, that's your job. You do your job. This is my job. I want to do my job. And like I say, I think at the moment, because it's still very fresh, isn't it? You know, James Bunch
Yeah.
just coming in. I mean, is he going to be the one who now starts nitpicking Eddie Howe? Because we're going to go on to that next subject in a minute, the amount of injuries we've still got, and we're only in pre-season. And, you know, we've got 6 players injured at the minute. And that to me is, I mean, when I say injured, they're still coming back from injury from last year, but they're still carrying these things. To me, there is an element of a question mark somewhere of the reasons why this is still happening. Is James Bunt's going to put that pressure on him? And is that what he's talking about? Or is it the fact that Paul Mitchell coming in now, is going to have more clout over him with signings? And that's why I said, I think there has to be a boundary set, and I think there has to be a line drawn where paths just don't get crossed. And I think what he's trying to do today is he's just trying to shoot that little bit of a crossfire across the bows of the ship to say, listen, as long as I feel okay in my role, I'm fine. I know Wynn's going to say this because he's always the glass half full, and I
just
understand
making
that.
that up out of thin air. You're just following the narrative and saying, "Oh yeah, you know, There's nothing that he said.
It's everything that he said. He said that. Well, you haven't seen all the interviews because that's exactly what he said. As long as I know where my boundaries are.
I've seen all the
fine.
interviews, and I've seen all the different journalists' take on them, and I don't agree with them.
Well, even, I mean, you were saying it in the background about the Geordie
he's firing a shot across their bows. He's drawn a line.
No,
he's this, that.
No. I've just said that because that's what it could be saying.
He's simply saying, as long as I feel supported, as long as I get the backing that I've always had, I don't have a problem. And why should he?
Do you think
if he's sat in front of a potential signing next week, and the signing's got an offer on the table from us and an offer on the table from Aston Villa, Tottenham, and the signing is impressed with Eddie Howe, and he says, "I'll sign if you're still here. Will you? Are you going to be the manager this season?" He's got to say yes. He can't say, "Oh, if supported" and stuff like that. And I think, that goes everything. Supporters, potential signings, a lot. It could disrupt things massively if there's any sort of question mark hanging over him. I think this is going to rage all week, and it'll be very interesting because he's going to have to do a press conference before we play Hull next weekend. And the way this should be approached is there should be a conversation, iron out these boundaries, which shouldn't take long. And then at the next press conference, that's the key. Because if they'll say, "Would you rule yourself out for the England job?" he needs to say yes. The longer he goes without saying, "I'm out for that job," the more our pre-season gets disrupted in the season with it.
I think he's already said no to the England job.
No, he's not said no.
He was asked about the England job, and he says, "I've got no interest in England."
What he said was, "I've been disattached
in England. My job is Newcastle United."
As long as I am happy, feel supported, feel free to work the way I want. I've not thought of anything other than Newcastle. I want a caveat-free response.
He's put the ball back in Newcastle score. That's what he's done.
He has literally put the ball back in Newcastle. Like I said,
I honestly,
you're going to read into it differently.
Everybody is reading far too much into it because there's no news, because there's no going on. Everybody's trying to make a story out of nothing.
Like Jamie said before, he didn't have to say those things. He could have just said yes, no, that's it, done. But now what he's done is made a comment.
He said, "I'm not interested in the England job.
Well, he didn't quite say that.
United, and as long as I'm supported in the same way I always have been, I've got no."
That leaves an open section. The question, though, doesn't it? When if what happens if he isn't?
There wasn't an if.
No, he did. He says if I'm back,
as long as.
So as long as, so that leaves if I'm not. That means the variables there.
As long as it continues, as long as he feels as loved and appreciated as he has been, then nothing's changed.
Do you think he's referring to the fact that Amanda that not there anymore? So the people that appointed him.
Well, he referred to the fact that there'd been big changes, and obviously Amanda and Murdoch going, and Paul Mitchell and Bunce coming in. They are big changes.
It's going to take it's a transition.
And what he's saying is, as long as those changes don't affect what's gone on previously, fantastic.
But when you bring in that many different people,
as regards recruitment, because this is the one thing everybody's getting their knickers in a twist about. Who's picking the players that we get in? As I've said many times, Eddie Howe will say we need a fast right winger who can beat a man and cross the ball, but who can also track back. I quite fancy such and such, such and such, such and such. But he will not have the depth of knowledge of all of the players that fit that category. And so then they'll have a meeting and Paul Mitchell will go, "Right, Eddie, you wanted a fast winger, Doris. I've got him. You wanted him. That's what." And then we've got the new stats guy, I'd say that this is what he reckons. Da-dee-da. This is what he reckons. Da-dee-da. Have you thought about this guy? And Eddie will say, "Who's he? Never heard of him." and say, well, he's been doing this, and this for Sparta Prague for 3 seasons, and Eddie will never even have heard of him. And he'll say, well, how many players do we look at when we're doing the transfer shows that we've never heard of, and then we'll go and look at their stats and stuff, and they look to be fantastic players, and nobody's ever, we've never heard of them because we don't watch Czechoslovakian second division football or whatever.
Exactly.
and that's the way it'll work. I'm sure he's not stupid. He knows that they brought Paul Mitchell in because he's bloody good at his job and he's good at spotting talent.
Yeah.
But
you know what the difference here is? The difference is, I think we touched on it the other week, the way this is normally done is someone takes over a club, they appoint a director of football, then he appoints the manager.
Yeah.
And this is going the other way around. So I wonder if there's something in Eddie Howe's mind saying if he'd have been brought in first, would he have picked Eddie Howe? Would he have considered Eddie Howe? Would he have picked a completely different kind of manager? They kind of forced it, that relationship.
This is the flip side of the coin as well. Flip side of the coin because Paul Mitchell would probably have picked Poch.
Yeah.
And he has the thing. If Eddie does go to England and Paul Mitchell does pick Poch, are we in a worse place?
I would say it's a gamble. Poch has proven that he can't win things in England. But I think the thing is that team works under Eddie Howe, and we've seen in recent weeks over this summer we don't have the sort of the underbelly of unwanted players that we can sell for millions that Chelsea and Tottenham do. We've got to get it right with signings. And until we make some PSR headway, we're not going to be able to buy loads and loads of new players. So if Poch comes in and he doesn't like the thought of working with Joe Linton, or he can't get a tune out of Tonali, or he can't keep showing Longstaff performing to the standard that we're all used to, then it's going to be an instant downhill. Whereas that Eddie can work with these players, and that works as Eddie Howe's team. I think there's too much of a change to have a change of manager at this point, and I think it's
I agree. Guys, we've done 40 odd minutes.
Gary, I'm going to come out and come back in on the laptop, so it should be
all right, buddy.
I'll
see you in a second. Just going to do a couple of chats that I've starred, because obviously this is going to be one of them things that everybody's going to have an opinion on. But the first thing I need to do is this. John Joe, thanks ever so much, buddy, for your $4.99. You are a star. And he's put down, hi guys, great show. Do you think we should look further ahead and go for the ex-Chelsea duo, Neil Bath and his deputy? Well, John, if I'm honest with you, we talked about this a few shows ago, and actually Jamie was with us at the time. We've heard nothing since, mate, if I'm honest, when they moved away. But we both, well, all three of us were in agreement that evening that I don't think it's just Newcastle that would like these guys, because obviously we did go in for them a few years ago. I think United, the other United, will also be a factor in this, because obviously there was links to those as well with the Ineos group. So it wouldn't surprise me if you saw them at one of the Uniteds. It may necessarily be this United. So watch this space type of thing. But anyway, thanks for your $4.99, buddy. You're great. Alan Thompson.
And just by the by, there's another $4.99 of them.
Oh, is that another one? Maybe
That's
it's a
another
rehearsal
one,
of the real aim. Oh, cool. John, thanks ever so much, buddy. Maybe it was a rehearsal and the real aim was to create smokescreen whilst the busy transfer market looking at players. Yeah, potentially. Again, like I said, there's a lot of unrest in the fans about the non-existent transfer list at the moment. And like I say, we have bought players in, but nothing that's going to blow your socks off. But Eddie Howe seems happy with the players that have come in at the minute. So at the end of the day, he's the manager, and if he's happy with what we've signed so far, then again, keep watching this space. And he's back. Hello, buddy.
That should be a bit better.
Cool. Alan Thompson, lads, the pool of English players is very look. We took an injury left back to the Euros, and that was it. Yes, mate, I agree. And I think that was the other question about Eddie, wasn't it? About the fact that he just, well, a lot of the fans obviously think that all he's looking at bringing is Englishmen into the club, and a lot of these Englishmen are obviously players that he's often had dealings with in other clubs. But there's still a lot of praise for like, you know, the likes of Lewis that have just come in. And if I'm honest with you, you know, he's been protected a little bit in training. I've seen him a couple of times, but he's not been doing a lot of training. And we're going to come on to that in a second, because it looks like whether he's recovering from an injury or whether the fact that his actual fitness isn't up to Eddie Howe's standard. So there's a little bit to look into that. Ian Fleming's put down, I am not concerned with just wait till FA appoint a manager. And if it's out, so be it. We will move on. Alan again, lads, we have to realise we have 3 oldest squads in the Premier League. With the high press, we're going to get injuries. Simples. If we get any older, we're known as the Chelsea pensioners. Quality. Jeopardoni, I said earlier that
the other thing there is the minute you stick Tino and Lewis Hall in that back four, and now Lloyd Kelly, all of a sudden we haven't got the oldest squad.
Yeah. Sorry, I said Lewis. I meant Lloyd Kelly before. Jeopardoni said, I said earlier that Howe had said he didn't want the English job with this wording, but people said hadn't. So there you go. And again, it's like what you were saying before, Win, wasn't it? The fact that, like, you know, it's a play on words. Some people will pick up, like you said.
You know, it's all down to interpretation. And I'm quite happy to interpret it as the words say themselves. Not interested in the England job.
Yeah. Ed's Mancunian Therapy. Thank you, Ed, for joining us again. Would you all be interested in Oscar Bobb? Well, I know that we've actually got an inquired about his availability today. So I would love to see him here. Absolutely love to see that lad here. Yeah, I think I think the initial inquiry was availability as in loan, because Man City have just bought another winger. So that would be one to watch.
Love him. I spent the whole Man City game when he came on just repeating the word Bob in Blackadder's voice to annoy me mates. So I can do that every week. Peace signs. Bit of a funny name for a girl, isn't it?
Absolutely, matey.
It's a hard name to make a good chant for, and when he scores a goal, Bob.
Yeah, exactly. And Geordie says Mitchell can't dictate a coach's style of play. Eddie will tell him what he wants. Mitchell will find them. Absolutely. The American mag Win. If he was so matter-of-factly or convincing about the statements on staying, nobody would be talking about it. But here we are talking about this shite. He dropped the ball. And
no,
like I said, everybody's going to
that's just you talking shite, Chris.
And that is a lesson that any young entrepreneur to come online and call your own show shite.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving forward, because obviously I wasn't aware of what was going on behind the scenes. So obviously we'd all heard, we'd all heard yesterday that we've got players injured. We know about Miley. I was surprised not to see Willock back, but apparently he is still recovering from his Achilles tendon issues. Tino Livramento has only literally over the last 2 days returned to training, if you like, because he was still nursing that ankle injury that he got at the end of last season. But then obviously we've got good old Callum Wilson, who has gone to see a specialist and had a procedure on his back. Now, what that potentially was, I have no idea, because there's no other details about a small procedure being done on his back.
Minor procedure.
Yeah. But then obviously he was questioned about, Eddie Howe was questioned about whether he would be in pre-season. And Eddie said he was obviously getting everything checked out, and we would see. And then he was asked if he was going to be available for the start of the season. Eddie Howe said, "Let's see again." So that, to me, says that he potentially won't be ready for the start of the season. So obviously
And
now
even if he is, Gary, I mean, this is your game, so you know better. But I think the problem with Wilson is, if he is available for that Southampton game, it'll be off the back of a few days training. You'll come in there and, that's prime territory for a torn hamstring or a pulled calf or something like that, isn't it? And that
yeah,
seems to be what
absolutely.
happens. He always
Yeah,
needs
yeah,
to, he's always coming back off an injuries that quick that he's liable to pick up another one. And it's started in bloody July this year.
exactly. And I think
Well,
this is the reasons
hopefully,
why we've been saying.
Mr. Bunce will start earning his salary. And
Well, I
then
think
He's
Hunter's
going to
got his
get more
work cut out,
Callum,
mate.
isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's going
Definitely
to have
think the
his work cut
safer
out, mate.
striker's going to hot up. I think
Yeah, absolutely.
you
I
can't
think he's
gamble
got
on
to.
his acting sole striker. You can't.
So if Wilson's injured up to the start of the season, I would suggest that diminishes the chances of moving him on considerably. So is the room in the squad, is the room on the wage bill for a second striker? And because to me, Wilson would have to be content with being third choice striker if he's still at the club.
Absolutely, no.
You could still
Yeah,
move him on
absolutely.
at the start of the season because it doesn't end. The window doesn't shut until after the season starts, does it? So if you're happy with the acquisition that you do bring in, you
True,
can move him on.
Yeah,
true,
but
but
if he's
it's
going to
taking
have,
a bit of a chance.
I
yeah,
think it's a good test. Bring the striker in and see how he reacts, because he might say, "Yeah, I'm happy to, not play second fiddle, so to speak, but to be a backup striker to a backup." But will he be when he's sitting fit and he's not playing? That's a big difference.
The point is that Jamie's just said there. There's nobody going to buy him.
no.
Whilst he's
Staveley.
injured. And I would be quite happy not to sell him. I mean, I would look to keep him, me. Because even if you only get 15 games a season out of him, you're going to get 9 goals out of him. And to buy a striker who can get you 9 goals in the Prem's not an easy thing to do. I don't know what's the matter with my glasses today. They keep steaming up.
You just
Must
hot
be all
stuff
that
with.
hot stuff on the screen.
It's
Is
Jim
it
turning
that
his light
Tinder
on, man.
photo picture? Yeah. Is it that Tinder photo if you turned up earlier when,
Absolutely.
But
But I do
Should
think
put a red bulb in there, Jamie.
There's
I do
since that
think
photos,
Jamie's right though. I think you were spot on, mate. I think the biggest problem is now he's going to miss all pre-season. Then he's probably potentially going to miss the start of the season. So he's going to have to train virtually solo, very much like the lads are that have been left behind now, to do his own routine. The biggest problem with that is it's not building you up to match fitness. And you're never going to
not
get
if
match
it's your
fitness
back.
until you're involved. That's right. And until you get involved in games. So again, we are reliant on the same old situation that we were in at the end of last year, where do we bring players back too soon? And that's obviously aggravating injuries or creating other issues, like we did with Matt Targett. Now, if you remember, Matt Targett went out with a hamstring tear, then come back and then suffered an Achilles injury because obviously during his pre-game warm-ups and stuff like that, he had a bit of a pull on an Achilles tendon, which left him out for a longer period of time. And obviously that saw him never actually have chance to come back to the group. So, like I said, I think at this present moment in time, what we need, we have got Lloyd Kelly coming in now, who obviously isn't up to Eddie Howe's training. We have got more covered on the left-hand side than we've ever had in the squad. So it's not something that we need to rush back now. The likes of Matt Targett.
Well, you're saying Lloyd Kelly's not up. You're saying Lloyd Kelly's not up to Eddie Howe's training, but he's had, he hasn't just been there since we went to Germany. He's been there the fortnight before that at Darsley Park as well.
Yeah, but if you have a look at, if you look at what he's got here, Eddie Howe is saying Lloyd Kelly, we are just being protective over, but he's fit and fine. So I'm not saying that he's not up to fit or up to any standard of fitness. What I'm saying to you is he's not up to Eddie Howe's standard as of yet. And that's obviously with the pressing side of things, with the
The
getting up the
system.
line if he's going to be used as a left back. And I think that's what Eddie Howe will like him to start doing. But he is aware of how some players react. And this is what I said previously. Is it the fact that a lot of these players aren't used to Eddie Howe's work and his match day work in training? And that's why you get in these niggles appear. Because under Steve Bruce, and I'm talking about the Steve Bruce crew that we've still got, I know we've lost a lot of them now, but at the start, if you remember, it was a lot of the Steve Bruce crew that were breaking down a lot of the times. And that's what I was saying.
But
Is it the fact?
bear in mind, Lloyd Kelly worked with him in Bournemouth as well, so he knows what he expects.
Yeah, he did.
He's
but
had a couple of injuries last season he's recovering from as well, so it might be.
But would
down to
you
that.
say, having watched Bournemouth under Eddie Howe and watched him under Newcastle, I think they're playing totally different football now. I think Eddie Howe is playing a totally different system than he did at Bournemouth. But
I don't
you know,
think so.
but I'm sure at Bournemouth he played three at the back.
He did a lot of the time.
with wing backs. Yeah, with wing backs. And I know again. I still think
Well, I
there's a
know it was
potential
high
for us
press
to go
stuff
for
because I can remember playing them and thinking, what a good footballing team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
All
I
of
mean,
us good on the ball.
you could never knock his football. Never knock his football at all. And I was just
Bastard
looking at.
spoilt my birthday once because the beat us at home.
What, sorry?
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Jamie?
I said the bastard spoilt my birthday once because the beat us at home. It's all right. Well, I've got over it.
Yeah, and
You forgive him, have you?
the other sad news, I suppose, from today is I was there. There was me thinking because we'd got a match that was behind closed doors, and we beat that. And I ain't going to even try pronouncing the German team that we played. We beat them 3-1. There was there was two different teams out. The first half and the second half. A lot of youth in the second part of the game. Harvey Barnes scored one. Isaac scored one. And I'm trying to. I think it was Jacob Murphy, wasn't it? Yeah, with the third one. And it was a shame to see Tonali not being available for that, because I thought he was going to be able to play behind closed doors. And according to the rules, because this game had to be registered with their individual FAs, that ruled him out. That ruled him out of contention. Now, obviously, we were all surmising that the game that was behind closed doors with Burnley, he would also appear in that. But if that means that
they've said that.
Well,
they've said he's definitely playing against Burnley.
Not according to the report that I've got in front of me here. It turns round and says that he won't be available due to suspension until the Spurs match in September.
That's what I read as well.
So I'd
heard would arrange games specifically for Tonali, would arrange games with Burnley and Gateshead.
Yeah. And I was with you, mate, because I was absolutely 100% sure. I say 100% sure. You can never be 100% sure that there was going to be a match in Germany, which obviously there has been today, which he would play in, and the match against Burnley that has obviously just sprung up behind closed doors, he'd be available for as well. But because apparently you have to report these friendlies to your FAs, then you can't play. So that surprised me a little bit, and I thought that was going to be a little bit of a shame. I was going to actually put the team, because I did put it down, and if I can find it really quickly, I will send it through and put it up on the screen. But I don't want to bore you guys with what I'm doing. So, there we go. So I can do it from there. So I'm going to send it through, Win, on our private chat, buddy. And then if you want to pop it up on the screen, and you can see who actually played in the game today. It's nice to see some of the youngsters actually getting a run out. And there's been a lot of talk about Zanussi, isn't there? And I think they're all saying now that this lad has got a massive potential of coming on board in the season. And well, what Eddie Howe's saying is he wants to see a few of them at least being part of the team in the season upcoming. So that'll be interesting to actually see. So
He hinted quite heavily that he was going to play a lot of the youngsters, didn't he?
Yeah, he did absolutely. I was just going to have a quick look here because Ian, thanks ever so much, my friend. I saw a little bit of green in the background there, and I thought, what's that there? According to Radio Newcastle, he is allowed to play against Burnley. Well, there you go. So he's see, this is what drives you insane, isn't it? Some people are, like I say, reporting that he can't play. Is that what I've just said you with?
This was on the 14th of July. Burnley announced pre-season match for Newcastle United will be played behind closed doors so Sandro Tonali can feature.
So how long ago was that? 14th, a week ago.
So
yeah.
That was the 14th of July, so 6
I'm
days
hoping
ago.
that's still, I'm hoping that's still the case then, because at least it gives him one game just to get up to match speed. Because I don't think you'll see the best of him until like he's been able to have 3 or 4 games, if I'm honest, maybe even half a dozen. Because I still
He
think it
definitely
takes
looks
a
like
hell
he's
of a
been
long
busy in
time.
the gym, though, doesn't he?
Oh, they all do, mate. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I did see a picture. We were talking the other day about individual training. Now, obviously, now we've got our Glass having another injury, Wilson, and that's obviously that's happened while he's pre-season, maybe training on his own. I'm not sure. Not seeing the reports of how the injury come about, but it does make you wonder if there is some truth in them causing more of a problem personally by training on their own rather than having professional with them. And I know I've harped on about this a long time. If you go into the corner win, you can do a block view of it if you want, I think. Or at least you can, if you want to, you can zoom in on it because it looks a bit far away.
I'm glad Wayne's doing this and not me because you'd be waiting here till next week.
Yeah, you've lost it, Win.
Yeah.
You've lost it, buddy.
It's not going to be a swift process as is, Andy.
I've come off the screen a second, Win. I'm going to come off the screen a second because you're all over
You got your readers on, Win.
Disclaimer, we're not all IT experts on this channel.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This is why I want Win to do more of this because the more he does, the better he's going to get at this stuff. And he's like to say, he's my right wing man. I can concentrate on some other things and he can concentrate on putting stuff up on there. So the more he does, the better he gets.
Is this a matter of there is no failure, only lessons?
That's the one, mate. The way I
Here
look
we go.
at it, James. Not quite.
Yeah, we don't.
No.
The only thing in failure, but if you look at fail, it's first attempt in learning, and that's the way I look at it. And G, thank you so much, mate, for gifting a membership. You're the start. I don't know who it's gone to. I'm sure Chris will let us know who that's gone to. So if you've been given a gift, a membership, it's AG that's done it for you. So again, buddy, thank you so much. Oh, there you go. That was the first half, yeah? You can read that now.
Yeah.
So,
nothing.
Jamal Lewis playing right back, guys. That was and Crafty playing obviously right-sided centre back because obviously that's still an area of concern for us with Shaw still being out on a holiday. Whitey played central because obviously we've got no Bruno. He's still away. But again, I would imagine with the change, if you look at what we've got there, all the goals would have been scored in the first half and all goals scored by our front three. So it would have been interesting to see how that went. And Oddy, I believe, played with the kids
that was the second
as our
half.
new goalkeeper. Yeah. So you've got Zanussi on the left, Kual up front as a central striker with Parkinson, Turner Cook, Miley and Harrison in the midfield. I would have loved to see how Harrison done, to be fair, because I think he potentially could be Miley breakthrough, if you like, this season. I think he's got a massive chance because he seems, by all accounts, he's coming on strong in the academy. Emerson, Stanton, Heffernan, and Shahar at the back four, and Vlaco, or Oddy as we call him for short, as your goalkeeper. So
I'm a big fan of him, by the way.
Who was he?
When he was at Benfica, he really caught my eye. I think he's going to prove to be a very good goalkeeper.
There's lots and lots of ways to talk about this, to be fair, because I'm like you, mate. I was surprised when he went to Forest when he did, because he played for Benfica when he was in the Champions League. He looked a really good goalkeeper. Yes, there's always going to be these foreign goalkeepers that don't always come out for the balls. There's a lot of foreign keepers that like to punch, blah, 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 rather than catch. So I always look at a keeper and think, yeah, you've got some weaknesses, but he did look really good. But when he
I
went
don't know
to Forest,
what's going on with these goalies, mate. Actually, there's talk that we might be signing another one. I don't know if this was part of the sweetener or the Elliot Anderson deal or what.
Well, I think
Oddy
was definitely yeah. Well, like I said, we all thought Dubs was going to Celtic until obviously Schmeichel went there. Now they've signed Casper Schmeichel on a 1-year deal. Obviously that's off now. So has Dubs been told to find another club? I don't know. But like I say, it does seem a little bit top heavy at the back at the minute, doesn't it? In goal, because obviously all the players we've got. But like I said, and I said to Chris before, I think the beauty of how it seems a new thing now, where we were all used to having these players coming on board. And you know, I remember the days, and I know Wynn does, where we had one goalkeeper in the squad, and that was it. You had a second goalkeeper, but he was never on the bench because you could only have one, and you'd always put your main player on there as a backup, or especially some type of utility player. But obviously now, I mean, like last year, we had 3 goalkeepers in the squad because we had 2 on the bench at times. But I do think the likes of Ruddy and Gillespie...
Can I just interrupt you, Gary? Can I just interrupt? Jamie, do you need to get away, mate?
No, I'm okay. I'm away to France in the morning.
All right, I just saw it.
Oh, when the private chat.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Whereabouts in France, mate? Oh, no,
sorry about that, Gary.
We don't want to know. We don't want to know. Yeah.
I'm not at liberty to say, but let's just say it costs us, you know.
Fair enough, buddy. I was just going to have a...
I've just taken the kids to Disneyland Paris for a little while, but we're heading into the city.
You know who wants to go on the theme parks, don't you? It's not the kids. It's Jamie.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, I love all that, yeah.
Just don't do what I did and break your cocks to someone.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that didn't sound like fun.
ENCR 65 has put down, if Southgate had not resigned as England manager this week, do you think Eddie would have talked about being wanted to be kept happy? And that's again, it's how it's come about, hasn't it?
No,
I think the interview has come a few days after the resignation. The world and his brother, when I say that, all the journals wanted to ask the question because it was on everybody's mouth, and that's what I said. As soon as I saw all of the journals booking a travel across to Germany, you knew there was going to be questions asked. And that's why
even Newcastle's own TV show, so their own NUFC TV, the interview they did that you showed, even that started with the Eddie question. So you're not telling me that he hasn't been prepared for it, and etc.
I said as soon as I saw...
he'll decide what he talks about on that interview, not the talking shit in the interview what they've got.
No, absolutely. But I also think, mate, it's been scripted because he said virtually word for word in the first few lines to every single reporter that asked him the same question. So I do think a lot of it was scripted. But you're right. I don't think he probably would have. Sorry, mate. What was that say, Jay?
I agree. I think he's got to have gone in there with some basic script to follow that that the club will have all been in on. But he's obviously made it his own a little bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Ed Mancunian therapy. How you feel about him wanting to keep Wilson? Now the back injury happened. Well, like we just said, it'd be hard to sell somebody who's injured at the minute, and obviously who's not going to start the season. I said from the day one, the only way you're going to get rid of Wilson is either put him down at a really cheap, silly price and get rid of him that way. But you're never going to get a player to score the amount of goals that he does for us when he's fit to replace him. So, like I said, I would let his contract run down and let him walk away that way. Daniela Stewart, what the Toons fans' view on Amanda looking to get involved with Spurs since she left Newcastle? Well, we've already talked about it. So, Jamie, give us your view.
Absolutely up to her. I think what she did for us is something you can never forget. The club was only heading in one direction when Amanda Staveley turned up. She kept coming back, and now we're only looking in one direction. So I wish her well. She's going to get involved with Spurs. That's what she does. I think it's only a minority shareholder she was looking at. No. I don't wish Spurs well, but I do for Amanda.
And
hope she makes lots of money.
Yeah, I kind of echo exactly what Jamie said. I mean, where would we be right now if someone hadn't persisted with overseas rich people, Saudis, Dubai, there was ones from Qatar a few years ago. Where would we be? I try to think. We've got a lot to thank her for. But she doesn't move on quickly, doesn't she? Yeah, all the best, really. I just hope it doesn't work as
I said the other day, for me, it's a typical business people do. It's, they go from one place to another because it's business. They can't really afford to sit on the laurels to a degree, because the way to make money is to continue in it. But I am surprised it's been Spurs. I am totally surprised it was Spurs because, to be fair, I've heard today that there's also a potential that she could go and have a look at Everton. Now, I'd probably stay well clear of Everton, if I'm honest with you. But what's always surprised me when they come in to Newcastle, it was a big surprise from that point because they've always had massive links to Chelsea. And if I think she's going to go anywhere after us, it will probably to go and buy a few shares at Chelsea because she's always seen even when we played them at Chelsea, away at Chelsea, she wasn't with the Newcastle mob, she was with the Chelsea mob up in the directors.
But it's an expensive business down Chelsea, isn't it? I think the thing with Everton is you could buy it for whatever price, and then with them coming into that new ground, and if you got it right there, you could increase the value of the club over a few years. I'm not really sure what you could do with Tottenham, man.
Well, like I said,
do better.
Tottenham's already valued at $5 billion, so
I think the biggest thing.
The stadium's worth 3 of that, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But I also think they're also in a hell of a lot of debt. So any money coming in freely potentially could be paying off the little bit of debt that is. It's something like £100 million or something stupid.
Tottenham.
Yeah,
I didn't know Tottenham were in debt.
I think Tottenham are in a lot of debt. I'm sure they're in a lot of debt.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I don't think it's debt that's obviously directed towards like the PSR or anything like that. Control. I think it's the fact that they're borrowing money for the stadium developments, things like that. So it's something like Everton have done, if you like, where they've ploughed money into certain parts, where they've borrowed money from individuals. And I can't remember the exact figure now, but I know they're in.
I've got it right here.
Oh, go on then, Jay.
677 million they're in.
There you go.
Imagine going to bed with that hanging over you.
Is that Tottenham or Everton?
That is Spurs.
There you go. And that's the reasons why I think there was obviously some talk of them going to Spurs, because they could go in there with a few million and wipe out most. Because what did they say? They were going in with 500 million or something like that, and they were going to be part of the shareholders. So they could wipe out majority of that debt and just pick up a few shares. You never know, do you? But like I say, I'd be surprised. To me, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have a bit of a hiatus and have a breather from football, because they have been working in behind the scenes since 2017 in football. So, like from my point of view, I think this could be just media talk. It may be just something to try and bring a little bit of attention to them again. I'm just trying to look at
Just for
Alan Thompson.
completeness,
Yeah,
Everton's debt is in excess of 600 million, but they don't have nearly the assets that Tottenham currently have, and it's at a much heavier interest rate. So I'm going to just make a little prediction here.
yeah.
I think this is going to be the year that Everton don't manage to get out of it. Right?
Don't give us hope.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I must admit,
They
I
can
can't
bring us
believe
back
what's
to
going
that
on
one
there.
next May.
Yeah,
And they can blame us
absolutely.
for taking Carlot Lewin and all. If we've no doubt that's going to happen at some point.
Yeah,
I still
Alan's
think
here
it is. Yeah.
he's put down. I see Wilson has booked in a bed in the RVI. He knows the nurses and doctors' names more than he knows his own teammate's name at the club. Right. So, to be fair, guys, I didn't want to go on too long, but I am just going to finish off with a few of what's been put up on here.
Can we do a little bit of levity here?
Go on. Because Alan's asked a question, so I was just going to.
I've just
Southern Press.
received this.
What's this? Let me just take that down for a second. Oh yeah, I saw that today.
If I find a betting app on your phone, I'll drown you myself.
You know what? I was going to put that picture up, and I was going to ask the viewers to do the quote of the day, just for like the last 10 minutes. So I'm glad you've done that, because that was literally on my to-do list. It is brilliant, because I'd seen that quote and I thought you'd get some fun from the viewers with that one. But
Come
I'll
on,
tell you something now.
work your magic.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what surprised me? I don't know whether you've seen that picture with all the lads. You've got a picture of half a dozen of the lads in a row with the swimming caps on and the trunks. I'll tell you who looks an absolute monster that I was so surprised with, and that's Dan Burns. He has got such a really good... He looks like a professional swimmer. They're very athletic, upper body strength. He's got... I mean, like I said, I know my mate Wynn will be happy for me saying that, because he's a big BDB fan. But like I say, I was well surprised with that. So what did Alan Thompson say? Question, lads. With Southern Press and TalkSport in full swing, wanting Eddie Howe as England manager, it's just a poison chalice, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It will end Eddie Howe's career in management simples.
That's the other thing about the England job, isn't it? It's very, very focused on those big tournaments. You've got one chance to get it right. If it goes wrong in one game, which it might do, the papers are coming for you. You're absolutely screwed.
Absolutely.
You're in major trouble.
Well, they're
At
all
least
saying
when
if you
things
don't
go
win the
wrong
World
here,
Cup,
there's another cup round the corner.
yeah. If
One
you don't win the
of
World Cup, the next
clauses-
one, it's going to class as a failure.
We said
one of
the
the
other night,
clause-
Gary, we said the other night, Gary, backstage after we finished. If I'm Eddie Howe and I back myself, I'm looking at next season as Newcastle the best opportunity I'm going to have to win I'll win a trophy with Newcastle before with England, simply because we've got Tonali back. We're looking like we're going to get backed in the market. We showed it towards the end of last season that once we start getting people fit again, that we can't beat anybody on our day. So if he backs himself, he's got to go gung-ho this season and say, right, if I can't win something this season, or I can't get us challenging by Christmas, then I shouldn't really be considered for the England job, because technically he's, no fault of his own, he's not won anything yet. Surely, if you're going to go and take over probably the most gifted England squad since we won the World Cup, you've got to have a track record of at least being successful. I know that Southgate pissed us on that theory, but for me, I just think, no, let's prove myself at club level, and then when I go into international management, I know I've been there, done that, and wore the T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we were saying, isn't it? I still think today that domestic football is a higher pinnacle than international football. That's how managers today see it, and it does go against the grain a little bit. Being a patriotic English fan, yes, it has waned for a few years, and it was nice to see us over the last 3 or 4 tournaments get somewhere. And like I said, as much as both me and Win commentated on the Euros, was so bored and we got so sick of seeing the same football. We still got to a final, and it was like, it just proves the type of quality players that whoever manages them has a chance to do something about, and with. So is this another one from AG Gifted, or is that the same one I put up before, Win, that you've just put
I
up?
didn't see it. No, just the one, and then we've got a one from good old Josh, I think. No, Ben, sorry.
Ben's given us one. Sorry, I was going to continue with. Thank you so much, Ben.
Thank you very much, mate.
You're a star, my friend. Thanks for the $4.99 gift.
The only thing I would say about that, club management versus country management, you don't get a knighthood for winning the Premier League.
No, you don't. You don't, absolutely. But you get the chance of going on to do bigger things with bigger clubs. And I think,
Ferguson did.
Look at. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Ferguson did do that, absolutely. Yeah,
Klopp's immortal now, isn't he, winning the Premier League with Liverpool? Who needs a knighthood?
Wherever he goes now, that's going to fall behind him, isn't it? And that's what I said. I think domestic football has taken a bit more of a chair than international. I don't know why, but it just has. Alan Thompson's continued his question with there is no way we are winning the World Cup in 2 years. So in 4 years' time, we have the Euros in England and Ireland. It's not just in England. If Eddie Howe does not whine, does not win, he will be sacked. Simples, and we lost a great manager. It was going to be a gamble, whichever way he goes. If he goes one way, he's got a chance of losing before we, as after it looks. If the results don't go for him before we get to the World Cup, he's got a chance of being sacked before we even get there, which I doubt. But I mean, he's got a chance. He's got a chance of being sacked at Newcastle if it doesn't go there.
With the starting fixtures that we've got this season, if we are not within 3 points of top 4 at Christmas, I'll be calling for change.
Yeah,
assuming that we haven't had horrendous injuries and there's no other mitigating factors, with the squad we've got, and again, I'm assuming that we're going to bring in a striker, a right winger, and a right-sided centre back. If we're going to spend 100 million, which I expect us to do this window, if we spend that money with the existing squad he's got, and we're not right up there, and I mean right up there by Christmas, then I'll be asking questions. And I'm his biggest fan.
So here's one for you, Win. Say we don't buy anybody now, because if you think about it, we haven't really got anybody. Even though there's a lot of players out there that we seem to be linked with. Malik Chow is probably closest one that we could get through the door.
He's allegedly just about a done deal.
Yeah. So if we don't get anybody and he fails, do you still shout for his head then? Or do you look for the person
you can argue
to blame?
that they haven't given him the backing he needs to get up there. But even with the existing squad, we should definitely be in Europe.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about being, I'm talking about being up with Arsenal and Man City, literally.
Yeah.
The gap's not that far.
We'll buy people. We'll buy people this summer. I think it's ridiculous. There's some hysteria out there because we haven't bought any big names yet.
Yeah, I agree entirely.
Any big player that you're going for, if we're going for a big right winger, both the club and the player at this stage are going to assess their options. And it might be that, there's other clubs interested, there's a bit of a bidding war. It might be that he's holding out for a move to the Champions League, whatever. It takes time. If you look at our big signings, we're signing Isaac after the season had started. We're signing Bruno on something like the 30th of January in that window. You need to keep going and going with these transfers that don't just happen quickly. They want to see what their options are. The agents want to see how much money they can make. and you end up buying them later in the window. It's early days, yeah, massively.
And it appears to sit back, doesn't it? Because once one big failure happens, it normally has a knock-on effect and a domino effect on everybody else. For example, if Osimhen goes to PSG, Lukaku's then going to leave, probably go to Napoli, and then someone else is going to, for me, once one happens, you then start to see a trend because everyone's got, either teams got a bit more money, so then they go and buy a player from us, for example. Wilson might, obviously he's not going to go until he's fit, but you never know. I just think mid-August, I think we'll start seeing everything hot up.
Well, there seems to be, he's a curveball for you. Obviously, with what Eddie Howe has just said, Eddie also made the quote that he wanted as many of the transfer deals done for the pre-season start so he can gel the team. Is it the fact that they haven't supported him in getting these players in already that he said what he said?
Could be onto something there.
Look at him shaking his head. He's shaking his head.
I'm sorry, I'm not having it. Eddie is astute enough to understand that these things don't happen overnight, unless you're literally Real Madrid and you go in with a £200 million bid and 500 grand a week, and that's probably the one of the biggest problems we've got is our current salary structure. Because you don't want to be bringing somebody in that's going to bust that wide open. At the minute, we're led to understand that Bruno, GS7, and if and when he signs his new contract, will be the highest paid players, and they are all on roughly 150 plus a few bonuses. Now, there's literally dozens of players playing for the big six that are on 200s and 300s a week.
Yeah.
And we're not going to pay that.
It's quick. I mean, after 150 grand a week, what difference in lifestyle have you got being on 150 grand a week to 250 grand a week?
That's a whole philosophical argument, that one is.
It blows me mind, doesn't it, when you think of the amount of tax and
doesn't matter how much you put, you still want more.
Yeah,
you see, I think a lot of the hype from our fans is because they see the other United buying two players. They've bought this young lad, Euro centre back, and the lad centre forward. I can't think of his name. That's the one. And obviously, when they see our main rivals buying these players, it does ruffle up the hornet's nest a little bit, doesn't it? Because we haven't seen anything coming our way apart from freebies, players without big names, blah, blah, blah.
Did anyone see the link about the centre back that Man United were after, Toledo? We apparently went in at last minute.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of, again, with that one. Now, this is what gets me with the likes of Toledo, right? Because obviously he's at Nice. Who owns Nice?
Guy that owns South.
Yeah, Ineos, right? So, well, they don't own them, but they've got a massive stake in them. Now, according to the reports, when we went in to talk about Toledo, Ineos won't do any business with us. That was the question that was put back. So, is that just argument? Is that just somebody just trying to put a clickbait out there? Or is there any truth behind it? I don't know.
Well, like I said the other night when we were talking, I said it's about. I'm letting them understand West Ham they've got him on a loan deal.
Well, they were the ones that did move for him, but apparently it fell through because they couldn't agree terms on wages, the wage structure. Because obviously, I think West Ham were looking at paying part wages and Nice paying some wages or something like that. I may be completely wrong, but I know I'm not sure whether it was personal terms they agreed on or whether it was the loan terms they agreed on. But one of them, it was on the personal terms and the loan terms wasn't.
I'm going to tell you what will happen here to put this one to bed.
Yeah.
Every summer, every window, there's something like this, and they always end up at Nottingham Forest. There you go. See what odds there is for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got to go, mate, because I know you've got to travel in the morning.
Enjoy France.
Thank you so
Au
much for
revoir.
joining us tonight, buddy. Have a lovely holiday.
Thanks for
No
coming on,
worries.
Jamie.
Yes,
Enjoy, mate.
guys. And just in case any burglars are listening, I was joking about going on holiday. I'm just going to go and take the Rottweilers out for a shite before I go to bed.
Exactly. Put the crown jewels somewhere safe, my friend.
All the dodgy characters are just on the channel, mate. The viewers are fine.
Absolutely.
I'll just
Uh,
from my
yeah.
house here in Southampton.
Yeah, exactly.
See you later.
See you later, buddy. I thought it was the
Cheers,
Isle of
Jamie.
Wight. Cheers, Jay. Guys, just a little break before we go any further. There is lots still watching across the platforms. Please take your time now, either to come across on if you're on X or another platform. Just pause a second, jump onto YouTube, look us up, press the like and subscribe, because as of yet we still haven't got anywhere near the likes or
If you need to see the
subscribers
win
that we need.
goals, become a member, because the member videos that he does are
Absolutely.
pretty entertaining at times. That's all I'm saying.
So here's one that Foxy's just put, and I love Foxy coming in with some jibes. There was me and you praising the lad up, and look at where Foxy goes. Majority of Benfica fans were celebrating when Forest signed him. There you go. So as I
like
said,
them.
you only see a couple of them, don't you? We did not want Dubs, Gary. I tell Celtic to forget all about him. Yeah, so you went for the next best thing with Michael, matey. Well done. What else was there? I saw something else down here that I wanted to have a quick word before I go somewhere else, and it's gone. So I will just star that one. I'll have a look at what we've got in the chat, because there's quite a bit still in the chat. This one here, Bear, right then, shut up all you. I've applied for the England job. I'm dropping Pickford and bringing back David Seaman. Cool. And Foxy, can Newcastle stop off at South Korea first before getting to Japan to sign Min Yuk Yang? Yeah, see, we looked at him the other day, didn't we, Win? Because we both of us had never heard of this lad.
Just
but
get him, because it's worth it for the commercial revenue.
Absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right. I do think we need to look at that. I don't know why lots of these seem to be starred and they're personal chats. So I'm not going to put personal chats on the screen, guys. Alan Thompson says Lee Clark, ex-Newcastle player, said if you miss pre-season, it takes you 6 months to get up to match fitness in most cases. And absolutely right. And I think especially if you're up to Eddie Howe's match fitness anyway, I think there's probably a lot of sense in that, if I'm honest. We already have 4 players who won't start the season. It's worrying. Totally agree, mate. There is definitely something that we need to look into.
It's
Terry
normal
Bilton.
service has resumed, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. It sounds like Eddie ain't happy to me, but not being funny, I ain't happy with all his decision making. Keeping hold of Miggy, Longstaff and Wilson is ridiculous. If you can't work with Michael, then go. Again, it's like we were saying. You're never going to be happy with everything that somebody does. We've all criticised Eddie Howe in the past for not making the right decisions during match days, where we could all see that something needs changing. And sometimes I feel as though he's been very lucky. Both me and Win said the other day, when he substituted Kraft after bringing Kraft on, and then obviously you got Barnes comes on and scores the winning goal against West Ham. Things like that. Sometimes games can just work out when, to be fair, it never looked like we were going to win that game. But you've got to, for me, it was the best game of the season last year.
He looks in great shape pre-season, mind.
Yeah, he does. He does. And that's what I'm saying. You've got to take credit where credit's due. From that aspect, I think all the players. I mean, I looked at Tino the other day. He was running on the treadmill, and he'd got a vest on, a training top, and you can certainly see that he's been working. He's more athletic now. He seems to have filled out a little bit more. It does concern me a little bit, mate, if I'm honest with you, about, like, obviously he's coming back from this ankle injury, but he seems to be running really freely on the treadmill. but I also think that there's got to be a little bit more structure for them when they're solo training. I looked at Joe Linton the other day. Now, don't get me wrong. I said to you before, Joe Linton's legs, there's not an ounce of fat on him. You know, he's so muscular bound, it's untrue.
Like Ivan's
He couldn't stop a pig in a passage, I know.
But what I did see
He
the
makes
other day was
Supermark
him
look
lifting.
straight-legged.
Yeah. He was lifting 60 kg as if it was like, you know, going out of fashion. And luckily, I mean, now obviously I know that was at the training ground, so obviously he'd be under supervision. But how much does he lift when he's not being supervised? Do you got me? How much of these, these fibers in the muscles are starting to get a little bit tired and starting to snap? Because that's how you build muscle tissue. You've got to break them down first to build them up. So, you know, this is what concerns me when they're on their own. And that's why I said I think going forward, I hope James Bunce gives them all some type of log, journal, or something like that to write down exactly what they're doing when they're away from the club or at least training on their own. Daniela Stewart, welcome again. Massive West Ham fan. The press are the ones calling for Eddie to be England manager as much as so-called fans calling for it too. I agree, mate. I think a lot of the journals are the ones instigating a lot of this stuff. And you know, we said when we were in the green room, it doesn't surprise me if they haven't already approached Eddie in some capacity, even though Eddie said that, like, obviously being in Germany, his only communication is via his phone. But trust me, I'm sure with today's technology, you get a lot of information on your phone. You get a lot of news coming your way. So when he says, I've been away from it.
They should leave Win in charge of his phone. He'll not be able to read the email.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one, actually. Is there anything, guys, that you guys want to talk about before we come to a close? Because we're an hour and a half now. There's not a lot left in the chat. Danielle has come back with, I'm not sure the American owners will let Spurs go as those American owners that want the European Super League. I'm not sure what she's talking about there. It might be something to do in the chat that she's having a convo with.
Just thinking out loud.
Just got done by the US for bad finances.
Oh, that's Joe Louis. Louis.
Oh, is it?
He's one of the Spurs major. I think he's the major shareholder.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say who's Joe Lewis. What Jamal Lewis? What's he got to do with
no to do with the
not ours.
No to do with the boxer.
Just thinking out loud.
I was interested in that one from Warren.
What's that?
Midfield.
Couldn't quite.
Which one?
A minute. Absolutely nothing wrong with Eddie's work ethics and person, but we must have a 2-shaped, 3-deep team.
Yeah.
2-shaped.
Yeah.
3-deep team.
I understand.
2-shaped, 3-deep team.
I think what he's trying to say is you've got two parts of the team has to come together, and the three of them together must make a team going forward. So separating James Bunce, you've got the two. You've got obviously Mitchell and Eddie Howe that will obviously shape the team going out and having a strategy to buy players. Things that's how I see it. Anyway, I'm not sure whether Warren sees it, how I'm explaining it. But obviously the three shapes is Bunce, obviously then making sure that, as Paul Mitchell made a statement the other day when we were viewing it, where he's saying when he was at Monaco, you know, the biggest problem that he had was not being able to produce fit players for the manager to play. And what he wants to do now, he wants to get all of the players at every possibility going to be available to be chosen for that game. So I understand to a degree. I may be wrong if Warren's thinking something different, but that's how I see that. What's this? This is the Joe Lewis. got done for insider trading. Oh well, there you go.
Do you guys think that we need another midfielder? Because
yes, I said it all along.
I'm convinced because let's argue that we do get rid of Longstaff. He's probably one of the main candidates to go if we need to raise any funds. No. We've also lost Elliot Anderson, who can cover so many different positions in midfield. I think if you could bank on Willock staying fit, you could probably take a gamble and not buy somebody. But the fact that we know that Willock potentially at some point is going to come down with an injury, I think having Joe Linton, Tonali, Bruno, that's really it. For me, I think...
Well, you got Willock. Willock and
what I'm saying is Willock going to be able to be depended on because last season was...
I agree with you. I think we need to, but it's not a priority for me.
I don't know.
Not as long
I
as
think go and get Rabiot from UV. He's just refused a deal. He's now on a free transfer.
On a free transfer, yeah, exactly. I was just going to say that he would be one that I look at, and it wouldn't surprise me. Thank you, Rosie, for your...
Looks good in black and white as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's like everything else, isn't it? You know, when you look at these players. I mean, Daniel Stewart said there we have there's some interest in Mason Mount. Now, I've not seen that at all.
No. Please, no.
No? Yeah, exactly. I thought exactly that. He looked half decent at Chelsea, but he's looked absolutely awful at Man U. But again, that could be...
He looked half decent at Chelsea 3 years ago.
3 years ago, yeah, fair enough.
But he's done absolutely nothing. I actually thought he might resurrect his career
at Man U, and mate.
Man
I thought
U,
he could come good again.
No, he's lost it. For me, anyway.
Yeah, I agree, matey. There was a team. There was somebody had done an absolutely amazing team where they put all of our available players all in order. So, like obviously your first 11, second 11, and the only player, if you look at everybody in position. So look at our midfield. You've got Joe Linton. Who would you put as understudy for Joe Linton? Willock. Another glass player, yeah? Because now we've got no Anderson. Because Anderson could have also fit in there, also on the left wing. So then you go into Bruno's position. Who do you put into Bruno's position? Miley. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else. There isn't another player that you could put in there. And Miley's out for 12 weeks.
Well, actually, you may be able to put Kelly in there.
What, Lloyd Kelly?
Kelly has played midfield.
Yeah, he's good on the ball, but I would not be having him as my anchor midfielder. I've
only ever seen him as a defensive midfielder, as in a total defensive midfielder in front of the two.
Which in theory is what Bruno is for us.
I don't know.
That's certainly what Man City think they're buying. If you look at all the Man City shows, they are buying Bruno as a DM.
They want to watch him again because he's not a DM.
Exactly. We know that. But
I just think he's obviously a midfield general, because obviously he likes to control the tempo of the game and he likes to come and get the ball and collect it and deliver it, and obviously then link up with the play further on. He's certainly not a Rodri, and we've had this discussion before with Martin at Mancunian Way, because he was saying, like, we are definitely looking at
Martin
him.
that was saying it.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at him.
We get Bruno in at DM.
Yeah. But he's a totally different player to Rodri, and that's why when Calvin Phillips lost his position at Man City, he was doing exactly what Bruno was doing, and that's doing the half turn and losing the ball. And, even as really good fans of Bruno, and we all love Bruno, we've also criticised Bruno for losing the ball in dangerous positions, especially last year when we were vulnerable at the back. So I do think, we've got to look at it a bit wider than that.
Well, you want a curveball? He has a curveball.
I'm in the slips, mate. I'm coming.
I'm ready to dodge.
Calvin Phillips.
Right. I suppose I would.
If we could get the Calvin Phillips
of Leeds
that Man City signed from Leeds, you've got one hell of a player.
Why pay for him
Now,
though when you can get
what's
Robbie?
happened? What's happened to his career since? I've got no idea.
I don't think he knows what's happened.
Lack
to
of
his career
confidence.
since.
That I think it's confidence. mate.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
how
yeah,
good he
absolutely.
was, and I know how good Eddie is at getting
Could
the
happen.
best out of footballers.
Yeah,
And
it
you
could happen.
get him for nothing now, virtually.
Well, like I said though, it's that gamble again, isn't it? And
Yeah,
I,
but
and I
it's a
don't
very,
know whether.
very small gamble, isn't it?
Well, it depends on the
How much?
price.
How much is it going to cost? It's going to cost away
Yeah.
25 million. Easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I reckon you'd get him on loan from City.
Well, West Ham did, and look what happened to him at West Ham.
Yeah, I
They
know.
booed him off the
I'm
park,
saying he's
yeah.
fit. He's well, he didn't play at all virtually. 22, 23.
Yilmaz or Mbeumo for
And
him.
He had a couple of goal contributions for the other teams,
for
but
the other team. Yeah, exactly. But it is funny when you look at it, isn't it? Because we all said there was it seemed to be like a 60-40 split when he was offered to, for us, where we were linked with Calvin Phillips. And I wouldn't say I was going to be on the fence because I was falling on the other side of no, because he just hasn't had enough football for me to be able to be clearly understanding where he was going to do, what he was going to do to the club. Because to me, he just wasn't there. And then obviously you saw is the way he spoke to the West Ham fans coming off that couch or going to the couch post match, where he stuck his fingers up to the West Ham fans for just speaking their mind. Because he contributed to the loss of the team.
Just because somebody sticks their fingers up to the West Ham fans doesn't make them all bad. Sorry, Daniela.
at the end of the day, you're a human being. He's a young lad. His confidence has been. I mean, he must felt as if he was.
That's it. His confidence is shit, and we all know how much of a role confidence plays in players' form. And
But his reaction was a bit petulant.
I'm just saying, I said there's a curveball for you, because if he could get back to the player he was at Leeds, and the Leeds fans still love him, it wouldn't surprise me, by the way, if he went back to Leeds.
They're gonna have a good job getting him in the Championship. The money that he'll be asking for.
Maybe he would have to take a pay cut. Who knows?
I'd gone for Rabiot, mate. He's on a free.
Oh, hey.
Trolls.
Hey, I think the birthday wine's gone to your head, Trolls.
Trolls, thank you so much. I don't know who they've gone out to, so anybody that's just received a membership, thank this man here. Trolls has given 10 out. I'm sure by the end of our performance, we will know. And Chris will give Win some info.
Bacon Buddy, who I've never seen in the chat, but he's obviously watching all the time, or otherwise he wouldn't get it. Hello, Bacon. Come on the chat. Let your feelings be known. Jason Brown, Jan Lennart, Lars Lundskog, sounds like a Norwegian gentleman, Noel Lee, Thomas Pierce, and Mansell Hansel. And Adrian Pitcher, Toon Bird, and Magpie Exile. You all have Trolls to thank for your membership.
Well done again, Trolls. Superb, buddy.
Yeah, thank you very, very much.
Access to Wins rants.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just flicking through if I've missed anything from the chat, and I'm just going to go back up to what we've starred because there's quite a lot in here. I think, bless him, Brian lost his battery, and he's been trying to catch up. He's been throwing so many names out there. I haven't got time to look through every single name. But Warren Dinning has put it's the bloody goalkeeper situation that's totally shite. Loan that crap off or sell. Can't rely on Pope. Marmadash must be bought. Hey pronto. Knee one wins nout without an elite keeper. Fact. I think the days for Marmadashvili have gone, matey, to be fair. I do honestly. I think his price after the Euros will have risen exponentially. So I don't think there's any chance of him coming our way. Daniela, what's it also It's also what other teams are doing. But with not having any European football, this both Newcastle and West Ham should be competing for the European places. And
I agree.
I agree totally, sweetheart. Perhaps Man U overpaid for Lenny Yoro, but I'm
Just
still
a bit.
jealous as that they have him and we don't. Absolutely. You know what? For an 18-year-old, I think that lad is going to be some player. But it is a gamble because even though he seems such an absolute gem on the ball, he brings the ball forward and progression. It's whether he can do it having his heels kicked on a regular basis in the Premiership. It does seem to wheedle out the boys and the men, doesn't it? So it's one to
year.
see.
He only had a year left on his deal as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that is some serious gamble. 70 million euros for a kid that's got 1 year.
Yeah, I was going to say just under 59 million, 59 million, wasn't it? That they've paid
And
for him.
how many times tonight have the words "it's a gamble" been said? And
I think it's
listen, all of football transfers are a gamble.
Absolutely.
And as with any gambling, ask Tonali, any gambling, what you do is maximize the profits whilst minimizing the bet. And so if you're going to gamble, you need to be, if it goes wrong, and more often, it'll go wrong more often than it goes right.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to get out of it.
Yeah, you're right.
At least he's young.
Kev, yeah, absolutely. As a massive fan of Barnes, do you think classing Gordon as a third choice striker helps appease Harvey playing second fiddle? After being a Fox big hitter, can't sit well with him surely. So, like I said, I saw quite a lot of football with Harvey Barnes when he was at Leicester City, and as much as he was, a massive hitter for them, and a lot of the times, probably got them over the winning line at a lot of the games. He did blow hot and cold. He seems very much like a temperamental player, and we've seen it in matches last season where he started and didn't really blow up any trees or anything like that, did he? He seems to be very much for us very much an impact sub. Now I hope he obviously changes and he does challenge for that first left wing position, because I think that's only going to make Anthony Gordon better. But you're right. I have no issues with Anthony Gordon being looked at in another position. I just don't think you're ever going to get the same Anthony Gordon. That's my concern.
Do you think Harvey Barnes could drop back to midfield at all?
Not for me.
No.
Wonder Eddie? Who'd have said Joe Linton could have ever gone in that position?
Yeah. I think we might see Gordon on the right quite a bit.
I was going to say, it wouldn't surprise me, because I mean, what I've seen.
If that happens, it means we haven't signed a good right winger. And
I know, but that's the way it's looking at it, isn't it?
Yeah, there is always that, matey. And that's what I said. You've got to be
plenty of time.
You've got to be very, very careful, haven't we? Not to wish players into unnatural positions, because
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
And exactly. Gordon on the left wing was our player of the season.
Definitely, but I mean, he did play well for Everton on the right at times. He just reminds me of an old school winger at times. If you put him on that right side, get your head down, get the ball in the box. Get your head down, get the ball in the box.
But when he's played on the right for us, he hasn't done that.
What a minute! He played. No, hang on. Well, he played a couple of games on the right towards the end of the season when we were behind, and he set up at least 2-3 goals for Isaac on that side. Definitely. If you go through the highlights of his assists and goals last season, definitely a couple came from the right-hand side later on.
Yeah.
I will bow to your superior knowledge and check it out.
I know. I was going to say, and then check it out, and then send us a message and say, talking shite.
Absolutely. That's the one, and it's going to be.
It has been done, though.
We have got VAR. Remember that?
VAR.
We have got VAR.
That's going to get clipped up, isn't it? And I'm going to next time I say something, you're going to be pressing a button.
Listen, I have to apologise most times I'm on here, because with my brain, it's just so bad. I forget so many things. It's unreal. Names especially are bloody awful. Harvey Barnes is what he is, and yes, impact. You're correct.
Play him as a
He's
striker,
done
though.
midfield before. So
Sorry.
I think is he saying about Harvey Barnes?
Yeah, I
Barney,
think
are,
that.
you- are you thinking about Harvey Barnes doing midfield? Because like I say, I've
Yeah,
never
I'm
seen
sure
him
he
there, my
played.
friend. If he
I'm
has.
sure I've seen him playing right midfield for midfield for Leicester.
Oh, okay. I've never seen him play midfield, so I don't know.
I can't
Beer
remember seeing
Viking,
him.
don't put player in unnatural positions. Hold on, five minutes ago, we were playing Kelly as a
Exactly.
DM.
Well, cheers, Via.
I'm just saying. I'm saying if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Anthony Gordon on the left wing is going to be key to any success we have, in my humble opinion.
What, debating on injuries, let's say we get a right winger in and Eddie doesn't throw him in straight away, which he's well known to do, not to throw signing straight in. Barnes on the left, Gordon on the right, and Isaac up top is not a bad front three.
No, not at all.
And Gordon on the left, Isaac in the middle, and Murphy on the right isn't a bad front three.
It's not quite as.
I mean, as Gary knows, I was fucking staggered when I discovered that Murphy was actually the most productive right winger in the country last year.
Crazy, isn't it?
You could have knocked me down with a fella.
Yeah, and like I said, until you start looking at these stats, you don't always see the full fruits, do you, of the tree? So we are coming up to 2 hours. Thanks everybody for obviously staying with us. I know it's been a long evening, but as we've now been officially, I suppose, because again, you don't know how true these rumours are, I am going to put up this lad. And we're just going to have a quick look at, obviously, Oscar Bobb. Norway nationality, 21-year-old, 176. That's about 5'9". Naturally left-footed, so would be absolutely perfect on this right wing. Even though for Man City, he did play a lot on the left wing, as you saw here. So they wanted him more or less as a natural outlet, and obviously put the balls into the box for Haaland to obviously do his duty on, I suppose. So according to this, his strengths are passing and high pressing, which obviously suits the Eddie Howe mate. He doesn't seem to have much weaknesses, but again, I don't really go on what this says because I'm like every player, they do have weaknesses. Does fit the bill in these areas though, right wing and as a striker, as a backup striker.
But
I have never.
That directly contrasts with his heat map, though, doesn't it?
That's what I'm saying. Man City play him here, Win. That's not what he is officially. He is a right winger. That's what he obviously went to. I'm trying to think of. Was it Mahrez?
I just
he went to
replace. To me, the heat map is what tells you what a player is.
It also tells you where they're playing, where they're being told to play, maybe not what the best position is.
That's exactly right.
But like Borden being playing on the left for England when he's not a left winger.
When he's not a left winger, exactly. So yeah, I don't read too much into this because I look at obviously what foot he is and what his natural position is, and it tells you here that he's a right winger, even though he does play on the left wing for City
with a left foot.
With a left foot, as in he'll play as a natural winger. Now, if you remember that goal he scored against us, I thought was absolutely outstanding.
The touch off the ball is brilliant.
That first touch to then go around Pope and put side foot it into the net was for me one of the goals of the season.
It's the only person I've ever known to make a Pope bow to him.
Yeah, absolutely. He put Pope on his bottom, didn't he?
Yes.
So 14 games, 2 starts. Averaging 22 minutes, so he obviously comes on very late for Pep under Pep's reign. So only the one goal that was obviously against us, so it doesn't really give him any true.
And again, that was
readings.
on the left wing,
and he played on the left wing there. Yeah, exactly. So he cut in from the left side and obviously put Pope on his bottom. So I'm not going to read too much into to this because obviously it doesn't give him a true rating, but. Coming off the bench, he's only ever going to average sixes because it's very difficult to get into the sevens if you haven't, played regular. But if you look over his 10 appearances here, this is what I like. He's averaged over 7. So even though he's come on quite late, if you look on the towers here, he has hit 7s a lot more, apart from this one here, where he had a real low score, and I believe that may have been in the qualifications, the Euro qualies, when he came on. So I think that could be a real plus if we can get him, because I think he's going to be an exciting young player.
I mean, he's exciting. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not sure he's what we want, and you'll not get him for peanuts.
Well, you're going to have to pay. I don't know what his wage is. I was just going to have a look on FB Ref, see what I can see on there. Because, like you said, he's not going to be peanuts, but he is going to be one that you'd want in your team, isn't he?
Just laughing at what Rosie's putting there. You need to ask for something when you gift a membership. Win to do a dance or something.
Do a dance, yeah. Maybe we should put one of your songs on, Win.
On mute.
On mute,
Love it. So let's whack this up, and we can see exactly what he is on the FB Ref.
You see, Ipswich signed a lap there from Man City as well. I remember when he was getting in the team more than what Palmer was.
Oh, right, okay.
20 million.
I haven't seen that. Really, I haven't seen that. But it's funny when you say that, isn't it? Because you obviously see some players that develop really quickly and go on to things like obviously this lad, and you see others that just don't seem to quite make it. But if you have a look at his percentiles here, he's lots of green. The only thing that again he doesn't seem to get a lot of his shots. His percentile is really low on that, only averaging just over a shot a game. But
he just goes against us.
Yeah, but again, mate, you know, you're not going to set the world alight if you're on a different wing, are you? So your natural side is left side. You're playing with with your strongest foot, your weakest foot to get a shot off. So I wouldn't expect that to be high under Pep, but you could see that change drastically under Eddie Howe if he plays him on the right on his natural position.
He's not a type of manager and encourage wingers to cut in and hit it unless they're forward. I mean, it's always try and let's score the perfect goal, isn't it? So his instructions will be get to the byline, get it in. And he's not getting a great deal of minutes either, is he? Let's be honest.
No, that's what I said. You can't really judge him, but what you can see on here is what I love is the fact that he's well above on assisted goals and assisted XG. So he's virtually for everything that he's created, they've put away, and obviously that's Man City all over, isn't it? Passes attempted, he's just on the halfway mark with his pass completion. Look at that, 87. So he's 99 in the percentile.
He's on 50 grand a week, and he's got 5 years left on his contract.
Well, like I say, you're not going to get him cheap, are you? But you'll be able to pay his full wages, and you'll be able to say to Man City, "We're going to offer to bring your player on." But you see, the beauty of that is, it could be an option to buy afterwards, and if they can agree a sum, who knows? And obviously, I don't see a lot of. You won't see a lot of this, but obviously, he's quite high on interceptions and tackles, which is really good. Progressive passes, he's over halfway, so again, that's really good. But I know Win likes these figures here. Progressive carries, he's obviously over 3. Progressive carries with the ball, but again, with the amount of minutes he's playing, is that
You'd like
really
to think
gonna
as
give
well,
him-
wouldn't you, that this is something that we could possibly genuinely look at, because I don't know if you've watched Savio that the Man City's just signed, but I can't say Oscar Bobb getting in ahead of him. So I mean, he's had limited opportunities at Man City, and it's only going to get further limited with Savio coming in. So
absolutely.
if he's got his head screwed on right, he's going to be wanting to go out and get some first team football. Will he start for? We don't know. He could be a backup. But surely he's got to be putting his toe in the water and go, look, let's see what interest is out there for us, because I need to play.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's exactly what Martin was saying from the Mancunian way when he was talking about getting rid of him.
Right.
He's not really that worried, and he says for the kid himself, he says he needs minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I look on here, and if you look at the players that he's in line with, there's some really good players. I mean, James Maddison. I mean, we were linked with him, weren't we? Kvaratskhelia. I mean, absolutely. I would love that lad at our place.
Right. I love him.
Absolutely. And Silva at Man City, and obviously on his natural position, that's where Bernardo Silva plays. So I was under the illusion that Bernardo Silva was leaving Man City this year.
So was I.
Have I read that wrong? Yeah, I thought he was going at the end of this year. So again, I may be wrong on that, because I think
I'm going to interrupt you here. I think Trulls is on the drink.
Is that another 10?
Another 10. And another 5. And another 5.
Christ.
So that's 30 memberships that Trulls. Whoa, boy!
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I want some of what he's drinking.
Yeah, and me
too. I think he's still pissed from his birthday the other night.
But can I just say, while we're on that, and if I may, to support Trolls, guys, you guys are still watching. Can you please, just for Trolls, hit the likes for us? It's free for you, but he has literally just got 20 memberships given out to you guys.
30?
So to support Trolls, 30 memberships,
30.
apologies. 30 memberships given out to you guys. So to support him and to support us, hit them likes. We want to see an extra few likes and definite subscriptions, please. So thank you ever so much. So for me, it is amazing to think that we are linked with Oscar Bobb. But if Silva goes, do you think that Oscar Bobb's got more of a chance to play next season? So it's a question mark, isn't it? But the lad is exciting, and for me, when I first saw that, I was like, "Whoa!" No, that is something that I'd like to see at Newcastle. Like you said, I would imagine if there was a deal to be done with Pep, it would be a guarantee of first team football, because Pep won't want him to go somewhere and not play. Do you know what I mean? So I think if he comes our way, he will definitely be a starter. So
we've got to agree he's better than Miggy. You've got to look at it. If he was to come in, we're looking at him to be on the right-hand side, you've got to see that you would play him ahead of Miggy. And then he adds depth on the left-hand side. Yeah. And possibly even as I wouldn't call it an out-and-out striker, but if you're going to play with a focal point and you want someone just behind, like sometimes what we do when we're desperate and we throw Wilson behind with Isak, he could do that because he's quite big framed. He handles the ball pretty well. He's able to knock a ball and run like, I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but over 10, 15 yards, that guy, like, he is quick.
He's quick. So, I mean, not very big.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I remember a period, I can't remember, I think it was at a cup final. He had the ball in the corner and there was 3 players trying to get the ball off him and he was pushing them off like they were there.
I'm talking about for being in the middle.
Right. No, I don't think you could play him on his own. No, I don't. You'd have to push the rest of the team further up and play one with him. But at least he gives you options, and they're the things that the beginning and the middle of the season when we had all the injuries, we just didn't have any. Unless we were going to throw a goalkeeper, we were kind of screwed, weren't we? So And there's no gamble if it's a loan deal. It's just 50. It's 2.5 million a year if you're paying his wages.
Yep.
It's only 2.5 million quid. So
that's fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, Win, can you do me a favour? We need to just shout out all the new members as we're coming to the end of the show. If you can sort that out just while I go through a couple more. Foxy's put down, if Barnes ends up in the midfield, we are finished. Lol. His overall play isn't good enough for that role, and I totally agree with that. I think he'd probably lose a lot more of the ball being in that central position than he would. I just don't think he's strong enough to do that. Rosie,
here we go. It's roll call time.
Roll call, drum rolls.
This may take some time.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we've got Dean. These are all gifted by Trolls. Thank you, Trolls. Dean Young, Alan D, Jacqueline Hood, KK Chia, Sebusizo Ndlovu. Oh, Ndlovu, Peter Ndlovu. Remember him?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we've got Jenny. Hello, Jenny. Aaron Robson. These are all names we've never seen in the chat. Get yourselves in the chat.
yeah,
Aaron Robson, Joey Linton, Gavin Armstrong, Chami Leon. And then we have got, we've done the Bacon Buddy ones.
you've got me wanting a bit, but
Yeah, I think that's. Did we do Aiden? Yeah, we did Aiden Pitch and Magpie Exile.
Rico Lewis.
Yeah, Man City wouldn't let him leave. Like, no, he's the best talent in European football.
Yeah,
absolutely. And
I think that's the lot. I think that's the lot. Thanks very much, Trolls.
Yeah, thanks ever so much, Trolls. That's been amazing, to be fair, buddy. Like I said, apologies.
A beautiful end to the night.
I haven't put all of the chat in the show because you guys have a really happy way of discussing things amongst yourselves, which I do. It makes me giggle because I'm trying to listen to the guys in the panel, and I'm also reading some of your stuff on here. And
I wish I could see the chat when I'm on you when I'm on you sometimes, because
mate, you know you've got to become a big boy. Once you become a big boy, you'll be fine. You'll be able to do all this stuff. And
one day I'll be a big boy.
Me and we can sit back then and just smoke our heads
on your phone.
Yeah, I suppose. But I wouldn't like to be sitting looking at my phone while people's talking, so I feel as if I'm being rude. So
yeah, but it's like I said, with us, as after it looks, because I've only got one screen really on. Everything else has to come somewhere else. So we're always if you notice, me and Win are always looking down at what's going on, and because obviously the big boy in the background, Chris, is watching.
Big brother is
big
watching.
brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Big numpty is watching.
City are very good at getting money for the youth from English clubs, funding them to buy the next star. Absolutely true, Foxy.
Yeah. And the academy has made more money. I think the 7th in the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, that Man City's economy has generated £368 million from transfers. Yeah. That is, that's more than some Premier League teams.
Absolutely. Yeah. Haven't Chelsea beaten that, though?
Sorry?
Well, Chelsea will be up there. Chelsea
will be up there.
And
because they seem to be getting rid of a lot of their youth players, don't they?
I think it was Southampton. I think it was Southampton, because obviously all the money that they got in the last few years when they sold everyone to Liverpool. Who was the other? I can't remember. There was 2 Premier League teams in there. Literally, Atletico Madrid and all that. As a club, they haven't made as much money on transfers than Man City's academy. It's crazy the amount of money that they've made out of it.
Yeah, listen, Brian, mate, we don't choose where he goes to, my friend. I do feel sorry for Brian. His battery's run out. He's been doing lots of chat in the background with you guys. We've gifted, I don't know how many. I know Trolls has gifted 30, but there's been more gifts out there. If you're feeling generous, team, if you guys are feeling generous out there, Brian is desperate.
Let's get Brian a membership.
Well, Brian, it's easy. Just go and spend $2.99 yourself.
There you go. Absolutely. Julie, welcome aboard. She's got other thing of Eddie took England job. Would he have time in training to put his system in place, and would players be fit enough? Obviously, players be fit enough. I mean, that's a good question, isn't it? Because we've all said that Eddie likes the day-to-day job.
Yeah.
He likes to be hands-on. Is that the big reasons why Eddie hasn't taken or isn't interested in the England job? Is it the fact that it is more of a, I'll say, office job for a lot of the weeks of the year?
He likes to be on the green.
I think that's why he'll wait until he's older. I think you'll not take it.
Right now, I don't think the England job would suit Eddie at all. He gets his kicks out of improving players.
No way. Is that another one from Trolls?
That can be another one, sure.
Brian's got his fingers crossed.
I'm sure it is. He's just jumped up green.
Well done, mate, honestly.
I'll tell you something now. If Brian doesn't get one of these, you're going to have to go and purchase one yourself again, mate. But anyway, mate, thank you so much, Trolls, for all your gifts. You are so generous and so kind. How much is the benefits get paid to Tuesday? How much is membership? I am on my benefits and don't get paid till Tuesday. Warren, I hope you get one of these free ones, my friend. It's difficult. I know times are hard for a lot of people, my mate. Did the BBC presenter reading it? Birthday. Be a Viking. This is like an 80s BBC presenter reading out the birthdays.
I hope Chris set some
what you could have won.
fake viewers up as well with some obscure names, because it was quite comical trying to watch Win pronounce some of their names before.
Well, I tell you, I'm glad it was Win and not me.
I was going to say I would have had no chance.
I would have had to put Win's teeth in for most of them. I'm telling you now. Oh, bless you. Is there anything else? No, I mean, yeah, but mate, as much as we joke along, there is a serious part for this. Rico Lewis, he's saying, right winger, 45 million. You've got no chance.
Your body's left foot.
Absolutely. We have a laugh and a joke towards the end of every show. We try and make it as light-hearted as we can. We realise the hard work that's done in the background by all the mods. And, you know, there's certain individuals within our ranks that are just well generous. We are a new show, and we're trying to evolve. And it's guys like you that throw these gifts out, that support people like of Warren, who unfortunately hasn't got a lot of money to throw around. So for me, it's always people that hopefully gets these ones. Oh, Trolls has done another one membership.
Christ almighty. He's going to wake up tomorrow with a one bad head and a wallet that's been
got the elbow pressed on the give button. So I think there's something going on here. Mate, honest to God, you are an absolute star. Win's going to try and find out. That went to
Scully.
Scully, welcome on board to members. Don't forget, guys, you guys will be involved in any of the giveaways that we do.
And by the way, you're saying about new channel or that, we celebrated our 6-month birthday on Friday last night.
I was sitting looking at the subscriber numbers last week, and I was like, I wonder how long it's going to take to hit the 2,000. I wonder how long it's going to all of a sudden.
That was last Monday, I think we hit the 2,000. Yeah.
So
keep on hitting the likes, spreading the joy, share.
Here we go.
Share.
And Gaz has got another 5 out there.
In.
Jeez, AJ, well done.
Hey, Chris is going to be happy with us, like.
Well, like I said, you know, as much as our audience is growing and we're trying to reach a further afield, we're doing different things. Now, there will be some changes coming our way, because obviously behind the scenes, we try and look at what we can do going forward, and we're always talking to each other. So there is going to be some changes. Better? Yeah, there's going to be some changes, but please, if you can, sorry, I'm just a look at what Warren's put down. It's like, yeah.
Bless
you, mate. No, it's I can't because it's just not fair. But mate, I feel for you. I really do because I understand exactly where you're coming from. I haven't been paid now since May of last year, so it's one of them, you know. I've had I've had nothing because obviously because of my injury and disability now, my legs have virtually gone on me, so I can only walk a certain amount of yardage. But I am still employed, as daft as it looks. I am still employed, and because I'm employed, I can't get anything. So it's like, come on, guys, give me a bloody chance.
AG, who's gifted the membership, has added a tag to that saying, "Come on, Brian." But sadly,
we're all praying for you, Brian.
Sadly, they have gone to Further Seams, J-Lo Broski, Indotoon's watching. Where were you on Wednesday night?
Yeah, exactly. Don't forget the World Wide Web for everybody out there.
24/7 and Blenchy.
And Trolls has found another one.
So
Do you think someone stole his phones just sitting there like, God, gift buckets? No.
And that's gone to Wild Rift Clips.
Oh, that's another new one now we haven't seen before.
There's so many new names that these.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Mexican Magpie.
Just to say that they are. It's a YouTube algorithm which decides who gets the memberships when they're gifted.
Yeah, it's not us.
And that YouTube algorithm does sort out who's got a history of watching the channel, sort of thing.
Rosie's come on board now. Crikey, guys.
I feel guilty that we've not gifted one yet. No, we're going to end up having to gift one on the next vid.
And that's gone to Christopher Hall.
Another
name that I don't recognise.
No.
I've got a mate that I play pool with called Chris Hall. I'm wondering if he's watching.
Oh,
Chris,
well, you know,
he's obviously watching now. You can only get it if you're watching now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just looking. There was
300 watching now. So
there's lots and lots of applause and thank yous in the chat for all you generous guys and girls, I should say, that have gifted out. I'm so grateful for those new guys that have come on board, but I'm so sad for all the ones like Brian who participates in every single show that we do behind the scenes. Some of what I can't actually put on screen because there does seem to be a lot of verbals going on with Brian. But we see you, mate, and like I say, one of these days you are going to be lucky. The same as Warren, you are going to be lucky. So again,
that's what the wife tells me as well.
So much. Well done. Wow. Okay, so I was just looking at a chat that's just come up on my other screen. Apologies. Howe Mexican Mag, Todo Bien. So that's from my mate, our big brother, who's in the background. Chris, the American Mag, has reacted to one of the new guys on board. So yeah, you're all welcome. Guys, while you're in the chat, if there's anything that you want us to talk about in the future, or anything that if you want to hear and discuss, we can go away and try and get some info on a certain subject, then feel free to drop a line below this. If you don't put it in the live chat now, we would be more than happy to obviously go away and do some homework. Gives both me and Win some more work to do. Not him. He's got a lot of work to do with the kids. But Trolls, is that another one?
It's another and these have went to Ross Little, Andrew Porter, Ridwan, the Toon Review are watching. Hello, Toon Review guys.
Have they got a membership? Wow.
Yeah.
Well done.
And Mick.
There you go.
But they can only get a membership if they're watching. So thanks for watching, lads.
Well, thank you. Thanks for watching. Absolutely. We are welcoming to all and sundry. Warren, bless you, mate. You're my main go-to, lads. Tremendous job. Love it. Just love it. Thanks, matey. Keep watching. because
Thank you very much,
one of
man.
these days it will come to you, I'm sure. So, like I say, if there's anything that you guys want us to have a look into, as long as it's obviously to do with Newcastle, I'm certainly not going to go and have a look at the red light district or anything like that, because obviously the mighty Wind's already done that. Geordie
You
Kev,
there, done it, got the
we've not
t-shirts on.
absolutely, we've not had a poor season of transfers since the takeover. Baffles me why people are being negative at this stage.
Well
summer.
said, Geordie
And
Kev.
I
I'm
cannot
guilty of it.
disagree. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But are you guilty of it, Andy? Because you've seen our rivals getting all these transfers and decent transfers. I understand that.
Yeah, it's
Is that
worrying when you
what's-
see Villa sign good players. That's what it is.
Who, just remind me,
Who have they signed?
who's had really decent transfers?
Man
But Man
U,
United spend some money, or whether it's been spent well
Spent
yet is.
£70 million on an 18-year-old.
That's what I'm saying. It remains to be seen whether it's been spent well yet. The striker that they've signed, I'm not convinced on. I think they've
The last
jumped.
striker they paid £90 million for, can I get a game?
Agreed. Villa signed. Oh, who the heck? I'm thinking of the player that they've signed. I can't remember his name.
What I will say about Man United, by the way, is Ashworth there now. So if he's had a say in them, regardless of what personal feelings are about Ashworth, he's pretty good at his job. So there is a likelihood that they will be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Arsenal's apparently in for the Italian centre back. God Almighty, that's it, Scaramuri. That, thank you.
Yeah,
yeah.
So, I think it's just
it's not a stellar signing, is it? There's no. I said from the start that no business will be done till after the Euros in Copa America.
Yeah, I think
that's basically what's happening.
Yeah, I think it's just general fan frustration.
I love the fact that we're not sharing anything. I love it because that's what happens.
There's something going on
when we've come up with all the signings we've had in the past. So I'm not worried at all. I've got every faith that we will have another £100 million worth of players in before the season starts. Just chill.
Yeah.
What?
Rosie's just put on. He's going to have to be careful, otherwise we're getting people DMing him as a sugar daddy and spending all his money.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just win. Anyway, great show always. Big up all trolls.
No, that's trolls he's on about, I think.
No, you're on about you messaging him, man.
Checking
I
the yellow
appreciate
pages.
that. Don't spend no more trying to get me on. Ha ha ha. One day I can. I promise I will. So yes, mate. Like I said, we see you all the time, bro. And like I say, we have no way of knowing where they're going to. It is just out there. But again, thank you all for your very kind words and for your very, very kind gifts across the business. And like I said, we will be here again tomorrow. Tomorrow used to be the Insiders. Has it changed name now? Have we gone to something else? Because
I think we're extra time, aren't we?
I think is it extra time now or full time or something like that. It's all right. I didn't like Insiders because it made us sound like ITKs, and I don't like to sound anything like ITKs. Unless the source is there, it ain't coming our way. Like I said, we can only go on the news we have, and that's the news that most of the lads out there that report on this do exactly the same. So try and stick to the main shows, because, like I say, the ones that do a lot of the voiceovers, I don't know where they get the information from, but it certainly isn't from a decent source. So be careful of what you hear.
Fingers crossed I'll be with you on Monday. Everything going well.
Yeah, good. Well, like I say, on our Monday afternoon show, that seems to be doing really well. So if anybody hasn't heard any of the new guys and you're available through the day, we have what we call the breakfast show, because it's not in the breakfast, it's midday for British summertime, which is obviously going to be different if you're around the globe. But we call it the breakfast show because we are looking at the daily news that's come out that morning, and that's what we reported on. It's the breakfast show, even though it comes out at midday. And that's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And that's with mainly me and the man, my right-hand man, Mighty Win. But we're trying to get Andy on board a lot of the time. But
My
unfortunately,
son's been adamant that he's not going to let us on the last week. It's been something
he's
new
a
every
main,
year.
he's a main carer, and obviously his family come first, and we understand that. I don't have much money, so looking for a sugar daddy here would be beyond disappointing. Well said, trolls. So for anybody that's out there that's looking for a sugar daddy, don't go to trolls. And guys, great show all. Take care. Great people on the channel as always. Thanks, matey. And like I say, thanks for
just
your
one
charity.
question there. The international show, that's on a Wednesday. That's later. That's at 11, so that we can
That's
get
at
the
11,
Far
yeah.
Eastern lads in.
Yeah, exactly. So again, the only way you're going to see any of our future programs is if you hit the bell, because all them notifications will show you all the shows that are linked to NUFC Talk TV, and from there you will get all of us, because we have got several different shows, all under the same umbrella, if you like. But what we try and do as a channel is something different to everybody else, and that's it's an audience that's global rather than just looking at the UK guys. But so I was gonna say I thought there was somebody different then, but it wasn't. It was I speak Spanish, English, and Welsh, says the Mexican
And Welsh,
magpie.
there's a combo.
Matey, there you go. I have
I love it,
nothing more to
tacos,
say.
buddy. Boyo.
Yeah, boyo. There you go.
I love it, tacos, boyo. Give me a
And
tortilla.
I think may the light shine for you all. Wait, the sun comes up, and no matter what. There you go.
Correct.
Trolls, couldn't say it better myself. So I am going to finish the show.
You didn't know we're a philosophical program, did you?
Here we go now, though. Hola, mi amigo. There's going to be lots of this going on now. We are just going to be... and Mexican comes back with Hola, Big Zilla. Yaki
da, hombre.
Brian's trying to speak Portuguese and learn Portuguese, so keep going. He's hard. I know it is, matey.
I just thought Win was having a moment there. I wasn't realising he was trying to speak Welsh.
Trying to speak Welsh, yeah, exactly.
Yaki da, hombre. Well, it's in Spanish.
As we've been going for 2.5 hours, I suppose we better call it an evening. The trouble is, with us lot, it's just like talking to us in a pub. We are just all relaxed. We understand that everybody's got an opinion. We like to hear your opinion. But this show is for you guys. And during the fans forum, what we're going to do is we're going to look at probably getting a lot more of you on board to have your say, especially when the season starts. What we're going to do is something different. And I'm just going to start the ball rolling now, so it's on board with you guys. We're going to do something a bit different, where we'll do the commentary of the match. We'll switch off from the match to get everybody to have a little bit of reflection on what they've seen and everything else. Go and do a little bit of homework, and then come on a bit later, around about 9 p.m. in the evening, where we'll do literally a fan forum, and it'll be your chance to come on the show and literally have your face on the screen and give us your thoughts of the game. Win, draw, or lose, it's your show. Come and say what you feel. But obviously, try and keep it down. If we've lost, because we don't know who the audience is.
That's the thing I enjoy more about all this, is everyone else having an opportunity to come on now. They say that was what got me interested in YouTube in the first place, and I think you get the best conversations from it, because you get so many variety, different people come on, and different views. And how many times have we finished the show and we've been sat chatting backstage, and we've went, it is some of the conversations that we have backstage are better than the ones that we have on screen. And I think the more people we can get involved and stuff like that, I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you're a fan, you've got a lot of passion, but you as like me and Win try and look at the presenting side of it as well. You've also got to be a little bit more on the shelf, so you've got to see it from everybody's point of view, even though you've got your own opinion, and you can debate a subject. What you don't want to do is create the argument within the subject. You've just got to have that little bit of decorum and understand that there is going to be a lot of hot air. Especially, that's why we said after the matches, we are guilty of it as well. Sometimes we say stuff that we've seen and we don't agree with, and you come out there with a louder spiel. But afterwards, when you've had time to have a look at it again, you can probably work out a little bit more. And that's why we're going to try and give everybody a chance to let the hot air out with their mates, have a chance to get home, and then they can come on board afterwards and give us a bit of a chat and what's gone on.
Is there any other Newcastle channels doing that now? I'm sure there probably is, but I don't think
we certainly don't want to be anybody else. We've said that from day one. We may have been in the past. We may have had some gestures towards us being other channels, and we're not. Like I say, we all look at the sources. Both me and Win spend all morning, most mornings, chatting to ourselves and trying to source information. And none of that's off YouTube because, like I say, it's all about finding the source, you know. Good night, trolls. Thanks ever so much, mate, for all your gifts today. You're very well appreciated from everybody that's got it. From our point of view, it's not about copying. It's about just informing. And that's what I said. And what we love is the fact that we've got genuine supporters feeding us back some information. And we've got lads out there that while we're actually on live YouTube, because we don't do anything recorded, everything's live as you see as we go. That's why you see us making bloopers and God knows what, especially when we did yesterday's show. Win was still got his head in the computer, hide the live button because I realised we were running late, so I didn't even have a chance to hit the music before we started. And I went, oh crap, we're live, Win, we're live, and he still got his head down. He's like, what? Oh no. So that's the beauty. Yeah. That is the beauty of going live. It's raw. We make mistakes, and like I say, I don't like harping on because of my brain injury. Sometimes I like to write things down because I can forget simple things, and I'm not saying that just to make an excuse for myself. I have got a genuine brain injury, and if you want to go and look it up, it's meningitis, meningiencephalitis is what I had. So I had a swelling of the brain, which restricted my memory somewhat. So I do lose a little bit. So apologies to all that listening or watching. If I do get some
why
names.
he talks crap a lot of the time, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Win's got no excuse why he talks crap. He just talks shit.
But Win just talks crap anyway. Exactly. But it is what it is.
And that's my default.
I tell you what, I haven't had the chat for a while. The mighty Bin, he said, came on as the mighty Bin, saying he was there to strip up all the crap I talk.
Yeah, exactly. But I am going to say good night to everybody because, like I say, we've gone well over. But I'm going to finish with what I started with. A vision without a plan is a dream. A plan without vision is just boring. I think we'll leave it at that.
Oh,
good night, everybody.
Philosophies hit the front tonight, boys.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to smash the likes.
Good night, all. How are the lads?
Hope everyone has a nice weekend.
And ring that bell, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.
Bye-bye.